Hey, let's start the show.
It's Thursday, February 9th, 2012. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith. Joining me, as always, in this lovely, sweaty room, Norman Chan. How you doing, sir?
Not sweaty yet.
Not sweaty yet?
Not sweaty yet.
Are you beveraged?
I am water. I'm hydrated.
You're hydrating. Joining us is also in the room, Gary Weta. How you doing, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
You're wearing an iPod Nano watch, it seems.
Yeah, I've had this for a little while now.
I know.
Yeah.
It's become part of you. Like, I expect to see it with you now.
I'm past the initial point where I was like, is this too affectatious? Am I kind of a douche for wearing this? And I'm like, I'm a douche with or without it. May as well have it.
We know, but we love you anyway. So.
You don't wear it all the time, though.
No, I as I've said before, I'm not really one for like jewelry or trinkets, but I do have a bit of a weakness for a nice wristwatch, and so I have a couple, and I like to change them out.
So did that
on
come
the cover of the new Esquire? Bill Clinton's on the cover.
Okay.
Wearing a great suit.
He has
looking
a
really
nice
good.
watch.
He does
of course.
have a nice watch.
He can afford it.
Yeah.
What's he carrying? Like a
Crazy
big Omega or something, or
It's actually it's not like one of those.
Patek
it's
Philippe?
not shiny. I think it's a leather band, but it's
wow,
nice leather color.
Do you guys like a Link? I know you like the Link band, Gary.
Well, no, I don't.
Oh,
I have a couple of Link band watches and a couple of leather straps, and I always prefer the leather strap because the Link ones are just a hassle to adjust. You got to find the right spot. You got to take them to a guy that can do it.
And they pull your hair out. Yeah, I don't like having hair pulled out of my arms.
I like
uncomfortable.
a leather adjustable strap.
The only problem with the leather band, I'd still prefer leather band also. You get the multiple color choice. You can use black leather or a dark, and a nice brown leather. It soaks up like body oils and sweat, so
it gives character.
But you can always replace the strap.
You can over time. Does give it character, and the leather becomes the worn leather looks good over time. It also can give off odors, so you got to clean it.
Yeah, there's a couple of high-end watch retailers here in San Francisco downtown in the main shopping center around Union Square.
Yeah.
I enjoy going in there and looking at these watches that will probably forever be out of my reach, like watches that are in the multiple thousands of dollars.
Well, I'd feel bad. Like, I think I'd probably wear maybe, I don't know what my upper limit is, but when I start wearing, like, my wedding ring is made of platinum, and it was fairly expensive for something that I would wear on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
and I'm like always, I constantly, like, I'm out in public, I have a thumb on it. You know what I mean? Just you don't want it to slide off because I don't have good knuckles.
A watch isn't going to slide off.
Isn't your wedding ring supposed to be get kind of fused to your finger after a while?
Yeah, but if you don't have, I don't have knuckles. So like my knuckles are straight.
Knuckles?
My finger goes straight through to the knuckle, and
so that your wedding ring would just slide right off.
Just like that.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
So there's no good way to hold it. Like the other, like it was on the middle finger.
I can give you more animal crackers.
Yeah, it's not going to help. It's going to make your finger fatter.
How about some Botox injections?
Botox, maybe. Yeah. No. So I'm always a little anxious, and you see those videos of like the pickpocket guys who do the two-hand arm handshake where they shake your hand and then they clasp the wrist with the other hand.
Yeah, and your ring.
Next thing you know, your watch is gone.
Right.
Matt Damon in the Ocean's movies.
Exactly.
That's right.
Hey, Ryan Davis is here.
Oh, hello, Ryan.
He's bringing a package.
Oh, what's this? It's something with my name on it. Thank you, Ryan.
Somebody sent something to Gary here.
Mailman Ryan has made a special delivery.
That might be the most useful Ryan Davis has ever been.
Wait a minute. Who's it from?
It says it's from Kyle Miller.
So it's a reader.
Are we doing a live mailbag?
Wait. Social Imprints in West Sacramento.
Oh, you know what?
I know what this is.
I know what this is.
I know what this
is. I think I knew what it was right away.
This is.
I think it's my.
It's your T-shirt.
I think
it has your likeness.
Wait, is it?
It's my consignment.
Yeah.
Wait. I want to open it up then.
Yeah, I want to see what they look like. This is my final Star Wars T-shirt.
Have you not received them?
No, we haven't seen them yet in person.
Well, hold on. It may be something else, but let's take a look.
No, Social Imprints is going to be the T-shirt.
But is it going to be Gary's shirt?
I would think so. Kyle is our product guy.
Did you ask for more shirts?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. You've seen the cranberry. Oh, a bag of shirts. I was looking for a bag of raccoons.
Is this our payment to you for using your likeness on a shirt?
A
sack of T-shirts.
It doesn't seem like any other payment is going to be forthcoming, so maybe I guess I'll have to make do.
You get to spend time with us. You got free ride to Vegas.
My hair came out purple.
That seems right.
Wait.
Well,
It's a shadow.
We're gonna have to dye your head.
My hair and my eyebrows and my shirt. Wasn't it supposed to be brown?
They're supposed to be browny gray.
Well, they're lavender.
Well,
colored.
there's only one way to fix this, Gary. We're gonna have to dye your eyebrows.
No, that's not going to happen.
Come on, live a little. Should we talk about some tech news? It's been a big week this week.
I want to enjoy this shirt.
It's slightly disappointing, I have to say.
I think when you wash it and wear it, you'll be pleased at how it turns out.
Yeah, and these are nice shirts.
Oh, no, they're certainly very good quality. Oh, they have little whiskey labels.
Yeah, we don't screw around.
That is really cool. American Apparel.
Yeah, so they're made in a sweatshop. You know they're good then.
In America.
Yeah, it's just like an iPhone.
All American sweatshop.
Just like an iPhone.
I'm not sure how I feel about the colors, but
we can discuss this later on off air in a less awkward situation. Wow, shouldn't have opened that bag, huh?
Oh well.
How you doing, Gary?
I think now I feel like the bratty teenager that's like, oh, the Audi R8 you bought me is the wrong color, Dad. I hate you.
Yeah, I wanted
Why
silver,
do you
not
hate
black.
me?
I'm the worst person. I'm
one of those douchebags on Twitter going,
Yeah.
no iPhone, my parents can go fuck themselves.
I just got a 16 gig iPhone.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Mom and Dad.
Motherfuckers.
Tech news.
Entitled little bitches.
Tech news. Last Sunday we spent watching Super Bowl over at your house, Gary, and building Lego.
How is any of that tech
I know.
news?
Well, because
Get to the point.
Samsung debuted their U.S. Note commercial
Ah.
with the
first-
hipsters.
The first Samsung ad for the Super Bowl. Now, past couple years.
Really, ever?
For the Super Bowl.
Wow.
For phones, I think. I don't think they've done TV ads. They might have done TV ads. Last year we saw the Motorola ads.
The
remember
bad robot ads.
Well, they made a big not the bad robot ones. They made a big deal that last year would be their version of the 1984 ad, and it was terrible. It was the point was made that people who wear the white iPhone earphones are now the slaves, right? And
hipsters.
to be different, you gotta have something different. So you gotta have the Motorola phone. I don't even know if it was Motorola. It could have been some other company.
It was interesting that they basically took that vibe that they'd established of like making fun of the Apple hipsters, but then blowing it out into a big Super Bowl spectacle version of that commercial because it got very grand by the end.
Oh yeah, so the Samsung one. So it was that same, fake Apple Store dudes waiting in line camping. It's coming soon thing, but it wasn't for the Galaxy S2, which is what the previous ads were for.
Right.
It was for the Galaxy Note, which they promoted heavily during CES.
Yeah.
A device, half tablet, half phone that had been on sale in Europe for a while now.
Yeah, I have a friend who has one and absolutely swears by it.
Exactly.
Loves it.
But does he use it as a phone, or does he use it as a tablet?
Uses it for business because he travels on business a lot, and he'll get documents, and it's very easy to annotate and make changes and just send the document right back and things like that.
But he holds it up to his ear and uses it as a telephone?
No,
too?
I think he actually has a separate phone.
So it's like a small tablet, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Problem with the marketing. Samsung has now marketed the Note as a phone.
Right, and it's too big for that. This is going to be side talking all over again.
It's 5.3 inches bigger than even the Dell Streak 5.
You're going to feel like an idiot holding that thing up to your ear.
The problem, and I don't think Samsung had much of a choice because they don't have as much power with the carriers as Apple does. And so in order for them to sell it at the price that they could, they needed for the carriers to sell it as a phone, so you get both the voice and data plan.
Right, because nobody's paying $700 for that.
No. A Wi-Fi only Galaxy Note with option of a $30 data plan is a bit more attractive, but they're not going to sell. And also, I don't think more people need smartphones or want smartphones than want tablets.
Yeah.
And so I guess for them it was a way of reaching more people, saying this is the next big thing. Don't wait for, I guess their big tagline was don't wait for a thing that's coming soon. This is here now. Although when the commercial aired, pre-orders weren't even available yet. It was the day after.
The interesting thing about that ad to me was the reaction of the people in the room. Because I don't think you'd seen anything. I mean, maybe you'd seen stuff about the Note.
Not just the room that we were in, but the rooms across America.
Well, right. Like
a
Gary,
similar sentiment.
I think it might have been Logan who was over there. Literally was watching that and was like, "Oh, that looks really cool. Oh, wow, it's like a little tablet. That's really neat." And then he was like, says, "Oh, that it has a stylus. Never mind."
Well,
and
in the
kinda turned
actual
around.
ad, one of the people who's supposed to be convinced, like one of the Apple fans, supposed to be wowed by this device, says it has a stylus. Question mark?
Yeah,
as if it's a good thing.
Whereas a real person on an Apple line would be like, "It has a stylus."
It has a stylus.
That's how that line would actually be delivered.
With the same inflection, except the implication would be, "What the what the fuck? It has a stylus?
Yeah.
I don't think the stylus is a bad thing.
They said pen also.
Well, they call it the S Pen.
You know, we all live in this kind of post-Jobsian world now where we've been convinced that stylus is bad, but for the right device, it's valid. It's just got to be the right. It's got to be used in the right way.
You know what? The stylus is bad for the iPad because the iPad's capacitive sensors are terrible with the stylus and the way multi-touch works.
There's two different things that go on. One is the resolution of the digitizer. One is the resolution of the screen. If the screen can't display text properly at the kind of like diagonal lines and the kind of light touches and things like that are really important to making handwriting legible, it's no good. If you have to write something enormous and then the software shrinks it down to fit so you can write more than one line on a page, that's pretty bad in my eyes.
You mean like Windows Pocket PCs?
Like
right in the bottom,
every touchscreen Windows, every touchscreen stylus-based thing I've ever used, short of a $2,000 Wacom Cintiq tablet screen digitizer, monitor for your computer, basically.
And remember, at CES, Samsung hired artists to do sketches of people with the Galaxy Note, and those drawings look fine. I mean, with that 5.3-inch screen, you can draw, and like Gary said, your friend takes notes, annotates.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a great thing.
Yeah, stylus technology has come a long way. You're used to seeing it on very high-end tablets, but it is pretty good now just in small handheld consumer devices as well.
Yeah, but there is no good. I mean, annotation on an iPad or even the iPhone is terrible.
Because it's not designed.
No, it's not.
Had Apple designed it to be used with a stylus, it would be great. But it was designed to be used with a finger, and that's the way it is.
Fingers are fat.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Fat, but they're also natural.
I don't know. I'm not interested in this device purely. Like the size,
I think it was
is
heavily
the weird
mismarketed
thing for me. Yeah, it shouldn't be marketed as a phone. It should be a tiny tablet.
If it was a mini tablet, that's one thing. But again, no one's going to be doing this.
No,
with a giant phone.
Yeah. Something that you can't put in your pocket. So. Also, the other thing that happened that you pointed out, I didn't actually notice this because I was paying attention to building Lego and not the football game by this point.
Well, this is on all the websites afterward too. But we actually asked this during on Sunday. Why didn't Apple buy an ad for the Super Bowl? And I forget what was the site, but someone wrote a very long, detailed piece of, it was a missed opportunity. If Steve Jobs was still around, they could have launched the iPad 3 at Super Bowl and overshadowed everyone.
Do that.
That guy was an idiot. Apple.
Wow. Which site was that, Norm?
Not one of the sites.
Yeah, because Apple's really going to struggle to get the media to cover the iPad 3 now that they've missed out on the Super Bowl.
Right.
Well, not only that, it's there's no products. It's the wrong time in the product cycle for them to push anything. They don't need to spend $3 million on
$3.5 million for 30 seconds
to let you know that their phones have apps.
Entire brand is based on this idea that they are somehow. I'm not saying this is true or we should buy into it, but the message that they sell people is that they stand apart from everyone else, and that they don't go to CES. They do their own thing. They don't buy into other people's events. They do their own thing. They're not going to throw their shit into every other commercial, fighting for time at the Super Bowl. They're going to announce their shit whenever they want at a time that is convenient for them. So anyone who is surprised that Apple did not advertise at the Super Bowl, or that they think somehow that they made some kind of strategic mistake by doing so, is an idiot.
Absolutely an idiot. They didn't need to spend the money. They don't. Even if you look at the ads now for the iPhone, Apple isn't mentioned at all. They talk about the product, talk about the experience. It's not about like the specs or it's their best camera. They never say here's an 8-megapixel camera with HDR and better lenses.
No, I mean there's no surprises with what you're saying. This is stuff that they've been doing for 5 years.
The last time they ran the Super Bowl ad was 1984, and that was when they needed disruption.
Yeah, and when they did do it, it became the #1 ad of all time.
Yep. So the point made was that in addition to Apple not needing to buy an ad, their products were advertised for them. At the end of the game, when all the players rushed the field to take photos of like the trophy, they were all using iPhones.
Right.
I think that Apple did run other Super Bowl ads after 1984.
What was their other ad?
Great real-time research. This
always
gets
sorry,
the
but
show
I
going.
remember reading the book. There was something about the launch of one of the products in the non-Jobs years that was the point is,
I think again,
there's no reason to run an ad.
Anything prior to the 21st century, when Apple was just another company, and in many cases was really struggling, like Norm said, they needed to make aggressive moves to get noticed. Now they get all the media they want, even when they do nothing.
The other thing I was just going to say is this year the commercial situation was real. There weren't clever commercials.
I think it was a very weak year for commercials.
It was a really good ball game. I mean, I liked that.
It was all right. I don't think it was a classic by any means. I did like the one, I can't remember what it was advertising, so maybe the commercial didn't succeed on that level, but the one where it was like all the like we created Angry Birds, and people that usually wouldn't be celebrities got their moment.
Best Buy ad.
It was for Best Buy, that's right.
Yeah, and at the end we're like, oh, it's a Best Buy ad. But actually, you're right, it was a clever ad. It was inspirational.
It was nice. It doesn't make Best Buy any less of a shitty experience when you go to their stores, but it's a good ad.
Exactly.
And also, a lot of the ads were shown ahead of time on the internet.
Or were pitched as Super Bowl ads that weren't, like those Old Spice ads, which actually were kind of funny. The Terry Crews Old Spice ads where they blasted the ad into other Procter & Gamble properties.
I found out today that a guy that I know actually was part of the creative team that made one of those Doritos ads that ended up actually being the most watched
The contest ones?
Yeah, the Sling Baby. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. That was terrible.
According to
that ad was great.
According to TiVo's data, that's the ad that got rewound and watched again.
I thought that was a spectacular ad. The grandma
I remember
and the baby
sitting there.
Yeah.
The grandma and the baby eating Doritos, and Gary, you and I looking at each other and saying,
I did not think it was great, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think any of those fan-made Doritos ads are really that great. But I was interested to know that someone, a friend of mine, worked on that ad.
It's all about your expectations. When you know it's a fan-made ad, you immediately are more impressed. And the fact that they had the kind of 3D animated baby doing the reachy grab.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think part of the reason why we found it cheesy is the quality. Like, I don't think they have all the resources that like a full ad agency has. I think when you consider it's basically fan made, they actually did pretty good.
I mean, we couldn't do that here.
Shot. I think it's fan conceptualized.
Yeah, and I think they're given some resources, but they're not. But it's not like the Jerry Seinfeld commercial where they got like three
where they put
zip lines.
Those weren't CG. They actually ran all those, didn't they?
They actually did. I'm sure Jerry can make that happen. I don't understand that Jerry Seinfeld, as great as it was, in the real, when you write, one of the problems you deal with is like, why don't they just ... like the thing that undermines the logic. It's like, why didn't Jerry Seinfeld's going Munchkin this, Munchkin that? What if he really wants the car? Why doesn't he just say to the guy, "Here's $50 million"?
That should have been at the very end.
That's the 5-second version of the commercial.
And Acura says, "Our car, Jerry Seinfeld would pay $50 million for this car."
The thing about that ad is, I think that they were trying to cram as much stuff that they thought would make it a perfect Super Bowl commercial, and that whole Jerry keeps escalating the offers thing. Let them do things like have a little person and have zip lines and have a rocket squirrel.
It was my favorite commercial of this year.
See, I was totally in up until Jay Leno's appearance, and then
I'm no fan of Leno or his comedy or his show, but I thought that was I thought he was well utilized in that commercial.
I just thought he makes Jerry Seinfeld look like a really awesome actor. So.
The only thing that would have made that better if it was Newman.
Yeah, if it was Newman
flown in.
But then it's really cashing in on something old.
Yeah, I guess. Well, they had the Soup Nazi.
Right.
And they cut out the great bit about Soup Nazi in the extended version. He says, "I own all the characters. Like, I can give it to you."
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And they cut that out in the actual
That was in the
version.
Today Show exclusive reveal of that commercial.
NBC Synergy.
That was so filthy.
They synergized the fuck out of the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. My
God.
The
one day of the year that someone's actually watching NBC, they are going to make sure that they push all their shows right down your throat.
What was that thing that you
Smash.
said? Smash.
They spent $3 per viewer to get people to watch that first episode of Smash.
Wow.
Oops. Anyway.
Wow.
Should we talk about AT&T screwing people? Because I know this is one of your favorite topics, Gary.
Well, it's not... Now I can kind of just almost enjoy it. Like, it doesn't bug me anymore because I'm off the AT&T train. And I feel fairly confident in saying that I'll probably never give money to AT&T for a product or service ever again.
They're going to roll fiber out in your neighborhood and you're going to go sucking right back up to them.
Well, if it's anything like Uverse, I don't see why I would want it.
Well, Uverse... My understanding is that there's two kinds of Uverse, and one is good and one is bad.
I've only ever heard people who've had experiences with the bad kind.
I have a couple of friends who have Uverse that quite like it.
I have a friend who had Uverse for a while, and if you ask him what he thinks of AT&T, he would go on a rant that would make me seem mild-mannered and polite.
Wow.
He must really like AT&T.
He really hates AT&T.
Oh, okay. So AT&T has started throttling. This is something they've been threatening to do for a while, but they've actually started. And I got one of the messages in December, I think.
You got the text message?
I got the text message that says,
"You're in the top 5%.
I'm an unlimited customer, and I get a text message that says, "Hey, you're in the top 5% of users. We're going to throttle you."
Are they going to start putting air quotes around unlimited?
Well, they don't advertise unlimited anymore. You can't buy an unlimited plan anymore. But it seems that when you get close to 2 gigabytes on your $30 a month unlimited plan,
I know, but when you get your bill and it says like unlimited data, they should put quotes around it.
I think they should just say 2
There is-
gigabytes.
or asterisk
print.
or something.
Sprint had fine
Of course
print.
there is.
Right. They all have fine print because they're faceless multinational corporations. I'm pretty upset because 2 gigs. It's
Well,
If
the
it's
problem
a-
is that the-
3 gigs now.
yeah. Well, they said the problem is
People
that
are
they're
getting
throttling
them
people
at 2
who
gigs.
1.5 to 2 gigs.
Yeah.
Not actually at 3 gigs.
right. Because if it's equivalent to the $30 a month plan, the $25 a month plan, I'm okay with them throttling it the same place. If I get the same thing and just don't get the overage charges, right?
It's definitely the one thing that's good about it from my completely selfish point of view is that this will quieten some of the AT&T users who love holding their unlimited plans over the heads of other people. Going, I love my grandfather unlimited plan. Yeah, well, it's not really unlimited anymore, motherfucker, because you're with a shit network.
It's funny. I realized today that our Office Verizon account, the one that we use when we test Verizon phones, has unlimited data on it still. It's grandfathered in because I signed up for it before they turned off unlimited data. So I'm
That's
thinking,
by unlimited, they mean the degree to which they will fuck you.
right.
You will receive unlimited amounts of being fucked over
By
on
AT&T?
this plan. Yes.
You think that's what they really?
That's,
Is that
I
what
think
it says
that's
in
what
the
they
fine
mean.
print?
That's what they mean. So, hey, it's the unlimited plan. We didn't say unlimited data. We just meant unlimited grief and hassle and abuse.
Exactly. So
Being grandfathered in.
Yes, your grandfather did.
Everybody wins.
And what that actually means is we're going to go and kick the shit out of your grandfather if he's still alive. Oh, did we not tell you that's what grandfather really means?
I'm really interested to see if people are able to get out of their AT&T contracts on this. I think that if you call and complain, then they will release you from your deal so that you can go find greener pastures elsewhere.
Fuck yeah.
If you're released from your contract, wouldn't you just stay on AT&T and then get the subsidy again?
iPhone 5?
And get yeah, that's what you would do.
No,
That's
get,
absolutely
no,
what
if
you
you're,
would
no,
do.
if you're out of contract, get the subsidy on a new better carrier.
Yeah, exactly. Or a subsidy. Yeah.
Yeah, you just
use the
ride
subsidy.
out the
Yeah,
next 6
that's
months
right.
on AT&T.
Yeah,
and
get
then you
a
make the
fucking
jump in
iPhone
December.
5, which will be on LTE on Verizon, but actually will have a real LTE network,
Oh my
as opposed to the ones that they call LTE, but really aren't.
Yeah, they mean they just
In
omit
San Francisco, they're
the
LTE.
light, the I from light, is what AT&T actually AT&T's LTE is pretty fast in San Francisco. The 4 or 5 markets that they've rolled out.
Yeah,
in
I'm
so
just
far.
saying it's such a small network right now.
Yeah, it is very small. So that's happening. If you're affected, I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. Post in the comments because I know I've been seeing a bunch of people in the forums posting, hey, I got the text message of doom. And what they do is they basically just kick your speed way, way, way down to the point that it's almost unusable the moment you hit 2 gigs.
There's a lot of things in the grim corporate reality of today's internet we have to get used to. I think we'll be talking about some of the others later as well. But for right now, you got to get off the idea that unlimited means what you think it means. It doesn't at all.
Well, and the point I've always had is that I'm fine with metered as long as the pricing feels fair and the metering it becomes cheaper per gigabyte,
And it's also very
over time.
transparent of
Yeah.
how much you use.
Yeah. I mean, if that means the phone has to have a tool built in that's easy to use, or I can download an app that gives me easy access without having to type a whole fuckload of passwords and stuff in, and it means that it is a reasonable price. It means that it's $5 per gig, or
And it
I
phones
honestly-
should be smart about swapping the Wi-Fi.
If I was a congressman or a senator or whatever, I'd be trying to get a bill through the House right now that would ban the use of the word unlimited from cell phone contract language because it's a lie.
yeah. Well, but it's not a lie in this case. What they mean is it's 2 gigs. And then they're going to slow you down to the point that it's unusable for the rest of the unlimited.
And that to me is what makes the word unlimited a lie.
It's a lie in spirit, if not the law.
Unlimited, I have to be able to apply every definition to that word. That means unlimited in terms of the amount of data I get, and it should mean unlimited in how much of it I can get any one time. If you are limiting my bandwidth
Yes.
after a certain number of gigs consumed,
Yes.
I'm not on an unlimited plan.
Yeah, the unlimited should be the physical capabilities of the phone, not some arbitrary amount set by the carrier. So
Unfortunately, though, I'm sure AT&T have much better paid lobbyists than I do, and
That is
I
definitely the
don't
case.
think we'll be seeing much.
You should start a
much
Kickstarter
clamp down
for
on that
lobbyists.
anytime soon. Yeah,
the Gary Whitta super PAC.
yeah.
I
That's a
wonder.
good idea.
The other thing I wonder is what happens as usage goes up over time. Is that 2 gig limit going to go up as people are using more data and I move out of the top 20%, top 10%?
Well, on the fair side, AT&T did just rejigger all its plans, so you get 3 gigs instead of 2. So that was okay.
Help me because I'm not on a 3 gig plan. I'm on an unlimited plan, Gary.
I know, but they're dealing with going forward, and you're one of those thorny customers that's been unlimited for a while.
Obviously, this whole thing is designed to push people toward the $5 cheaper 3 gig
Right,
plan.
and obviously what they're doing is they can't, I mean, I guess they could, but it's not worth the aggravation in terms of the public backlash. They can't take your unlimited plan away. They can't just rescind it. So what they're going to do is fuck with it in much more subtle ways until it's not worth your time to keep it.
That is exactly right.
It's just pure evil. It's just evil.
Pretty evil. What's his name has a mustache. So, there you go. Windows 8 stuff. There's a lot of Windows 8 details out today. Steven Sinofsky posted an enormous post detailing how Windows 8 is going to work with ARM
It had been
processors.
Up in the air for a long time, ever since build. Ever since even when they first showed Windows 8 ARM
at CES
last year.
2011.
Yeah, CES 2011 when that was announced. And then what had been in question was, would ARM version of Windows be just like Windows 8? Would be exactly the same as x86? Would there be emulated apps? Would it still have a desktop? And I'd say most of those questions were answered today.
So there will be a desktop?
Well, let's clarify what Windows 8 on ARM is. Windows 8 on ARM is just, it's going to be exactly Windows 8 running on ARM, and it's going to be targeted for basically tablets. Thin and light. There are three things for a device that. Well, why would a device want to run ARM as opposed to x86? Thin and light, battery life, and probably fewer viruses. Stability.
Well, that's interesting. Well, so the big thing is it's a closed platform.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to install applications from that you download or whatever. Everything has to come from the Windows Store.
Yeah. So
Microsoft getting a little out of the Apple playbook there.
Well, they're
there are a lot
transitioning
of
platforms. They have
Yeah.
an opportunity to do that, and they're taking advantage of it.
So,
But isn't one of Windows' great advantages always been that it's open?
I think in this case, open means that multiple vendors will be able to build hardware using different SoCs. So they're working with, I think he said TI, NVIDIA,
Qualcomm, and Qualcomm have hardware mock-ups right now.
Yeah, to build support for their specific, because while ARM is an overall family, each system on a chip vendor does different things like different graphics and different networking and all that kind of stuff. So they have to build in support for the SoCs individually. So in this case, they're more open, not open. That's what I would say.
Prior to the post, the big debate was whether Windows for ARM, which they're calling WOA,
It's a terrible name.
WOA, big
They should
capital
just call it
letters,
ARM Windows.
Windows on ARM, would have the traditional desktop, or would it just be the start screen?
They said at build it would not have a traditional desktop. Or strongly implied. Sorry.
Implied. They never flat out and said. Today,
Sinofsky
it was
strongly
announced
implied
that traditional desktop will still be on Windows on ARM, but there would be no emulation of x86 applications. So
that doesn't make any. That's no surprise.
But before people assumed if you have desktop, then you would have desktop apps. You have traditional desktop apps. You have Steam that runs on your Intel chip and AMD chip.
People who don't understand
you're gonna be able to emulate that and run that on a Windows on ARM machine.
What's the point of having a traditional Windows
so that's
desktop
the question,
if
right?
if it doesn't do what a Windows machine does?
For example, John Gruber made the argument that they should just, and a lot of people also made the argument they should make a clean break. That Windows on ARM, because there's gonna be a lot of fragmentation for Windows, different processor types, different application types, and Metro apps, start screen, ARM, x86, x64. You just, for ARM, make a clean break. So ARM should have Metro only, and that would make sense because it'd be on tablets mostly anyway, and you wouldn't need the desktop on that. They're going with their no compromises line, and saying
7 times.
They want the desktop on ARM because the desktop, they admit, is best for file management, to get into the deeper settings and to do your, if you plug in, there will be an Explorer in Start Screen, Metro, but for people who want to use, the Explorer, you want to do networking, who want to go into the control panel, the desktop will still be there.
I'm going to tell you what's happened. This is speculation, but I'm fairly confident it's true. What happened is they started putting Metro apps in front of testers, focus testers, and the response was not the kind of high-level positive that they wanted. So this is a back, because they did say no desktop on ARM.
I know, but what's the point of having this traditional desktop if I'm browsing around and I see an app on a web page like, oh, this looks useful, and I get it. It goes, x86 can't have that. Exactly. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Yeah. Well, there's your compromise right there.
Think about how often you actually download and install stuff on a Windows PC. kind of after that initial setup. If you're just using the computer, not installing new stuff, then it's going to be the same experience. And the nice thing about having the desktop is it lets you move outside of the stupid metroized, you can't run multiple apps at a time on Metro.
No
really.
Windows.
Yeah, there's no Windows with the Metro stuff.
And
so it's either full screen or 2/3, 1/3.
I still think Metro is going to be great for the great swathes of people out there who you would otherwise just recommend you get a Mac because they don't want to fuck around. They just want to do their email and get pictures of their grandkids or whatever. Metro for them is going to be terrific.
Yeah, the Pictures app with SkyDrive and all that, like their version of iCloud looks like it's going to work really well, and it'll integrate it really well with Windows Phone 7
you mean?
and Live Drive, whatever. I don't like this idea, the paradigm of desktop being an app in Start. In my head, it makes more sense. And I don't think it's the right way to do it. That Start is that's the app, kind of like how Windows Media Center was, right? You're in the Windows desktop and you launch Windows Media Center, and that takes up your full screen, and that is your Media Center friendly interface. That's how I think of Start right now.
Yeah.
I don't think of starting in Start and launching my desktop as an application, because then I'm running also applications in that. From a power management standpoint, that might make sense. So desktop, like the code isn't loaded unless you launch that app.
That's not going to make any difference because apps that don't draw power for the most part.
The other thing they explained,
idle, rather.
The other reason they said that they will have desktop in Windows on ARM is because a lot of the apps that they're developing right now that are traditional desktop apps will work in ARM also. For example, Office 15, which people are wondering, how are they going to do Metro Office? From what it seems like, there's not going to be a Metro Office. It's just going to be Office.
Hold on.
And they're redesigning Office for...
You're missing obvious stuff, though. The reason that there's a desktop is that all of these support mouse and keyboard. These aren't exclusively touch devices.
But they're redesigning...
So the reason you have a desktop is so that you can use a mouse and keyboard effectively with a traditional app, with a traditional version of Word and a traditional version of IE and all this stuff.
Or even someone can code something and it can be a Metro-style app. Or they'll use New Visual Studio, but it'll be better with mouse and keyboard, and it'll be better to run multiple windows.
So that you can use it whether
tiling.
Yeah, whether when you're in a hotel room or you take your slate and you dock it and there's a keyboard and mouse there, then all of a sudden you have a PC experience rather than a tablet experience. That's why there's a desktop.
So the Office 15 video they showed looked more like a Metro app than traditional Office 15. It didn't have any ribbon. It looked very much like...
It looks like a Chromeless window, Office window
kind of
right now.
The Zune app.
Ribbon is such an eloquent sounding name for something that actually looks like a fucking car crash of icons at the top of my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. And the ribbon will still be there and explore.
What's that?
You don't like the ribbon. Do you like the ribbon?
Well, I don't like the screenshots of the ribbon that I've seen that just looks like vastly confusing and way too many icons and too much stuff. Like, maybe it's changed, but some of the images that I saw just looked like a complete clusterfuck.
I never liked the ribbon because it took too much vertical space.
Okay. Yeah, taking up too much vertical space is the big knock against the ribbon. In a world where you're using 16:9 laptop screens that are 768 pixels high.
Yeah, like my Word document is at the top of the screen, and the actual writable page starts down here because this is all ribbon bullshit.
Yeah, I want that all collapsed.
It's the same problem that people had when they installed too many toolbars in their old browsers.
Yeah, remember those browsers that go all the way down?
Yeah. And hey, look, the web it's 50 pixels high.
Yeah, it just looks like the web just looks like the final toolbar.
But now I know the stock in the weather.
Yeah,
so
that's
quick, easy to hotbot.
And hey, this page has a page rank of
7. I've got a little 3D stripper at the bottom corner of my screen. Thanks a lot, malware.
I have 4 antivirus programs running on this computer. Okay, so other stuff it's
using
going to have
89% of my CPU.
Exactly. File Manager, Explorer, all that stuff is there.
That's why
IE is there.
That's why the desktop is there. The desktop is there so you can have this. You can have basically Windows in Windows 8.
It's going to include basic Office apps. I think it said Word, Excel, OneNote, and
Office
Outlook,
15 is designed to run on ARM.
PowerPoint.
IE desktop version.
So obviously apps going forward will be cross-platform, but like legacy apps.
Well, they're redesigning the legacy apps to be optimized for touch and desktop.
And
ARM. Microsoft, I'm talking about the whole universe out there of third-party developers.
But those actually will not run on ARM.
Okay.
They won't.
Yeah,
unless they redo them for
unless
ARM.
they redo them.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to have to re.
But you can still have that same paradigm of having a window and having icons. You don't have to adopt.
See, I'm wondering if that's a relatively easy process. If there's let's say, for example, Flux, Flux, if that's a popular app that we all like. On ARM,
Yeah.
that's not going to run. But I'm wondering if it'd be easier for the developer to add that so that you just get the ARM version instead. It's next to the Windows version.
My hunch would be that they probably won't allow low-level APIs that access that kind of stuff to Metro apps.
So speaking of low-level APIs,
No, in the desktop, because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but the desktop, but you're not going to be able to install apps that don't come from the Windows Store on the desktop. The APIs that run on ARM are. I didn't actually copy them down here in my notes, but it's the JavaScript stuff, the HTML5, the C++. You can do C++ and C and a couple other things. And whether they allow low-level access to the APIs that control color temperature is who knows? Because that's what FLX does. In case you don't know, is makes your monitor get warmer in the evening and cooler in the daytime, so that it more matches the kind of natural lighting around you at those times of day.
It's so that it doesn't seem as
Not as
bright
garish.
and as eye strainy at night. It's great. I love it.
It's a good app.
so speaking of low-level APIs, the previous blog post they made about Windows was how multitasking would work. Because one of the big things they're pushing, because Windows 8 will be on tablets, is power management. And it's nothing special. Metro apps running in Start using the new WinRT development platform will have the same.
What does the RT stand for? Have they said yet?
I think it's run.
Is it real time or
runtime?
runtime?
I think it's runtime. I'm not sure. Will have the same states as basically Windows Phone 7 Metro apps. You're going to have like suspended states, active state, and and a background API state. So it'll have access to
works the
music
same
playback,
way
file
as-
transfers,
yeah.
and
It works the same as iOS, a little bit more open. It's not actually real
not even
multitasking
iOS.
now.
It runs the same as Windows Phone 7, which is actually where we saw it first, I think.
The background suspend states that launched with iOS 4, which was 6 months before Windows Phone 7 came out. They might have announced
I'm
it.
going to say they're using whatever they're using in Windows Phone 7. I'm not going to attribute that to iOS.
Anyway, that's all old information. We already knew that stuff. They talked about that at Build. It was in the Build
and
report.
that's going to be. I mean, the interesting thing is that's going to be on your desktop as well.
Right. The other big thing is the start button is probably going away from the desktop. I think this is still in the rumor category. They haven't talked about that at all. But there will be no start orb at the lower left corner. You'll just move your mouse over to that corner
that
of
great
the screen.
feature that was such a big deal for so many years.
But the way
remember when they launched Windows XP and
Yeah.
they paid the Rolling Stones all that money so they could use Start Me Up, like the whole.
No, that was Windows 95, dude.
Was it 95?
95 had the
That was
start button.
95?
95 had
Yeah.
the start button.
I thought it was XP.
Yeah.
No, 95 was the start menu popped
Yeah.
up.
Well, no, I remember 95 had it. I just for some reason I thought it was XP where they really kind of made that ad campaign around it.
XP was
XP had like the really fancy, like really chromy, like blue and green button.
Well, it was
Bubble.
it was a
Blue
blue
bar.
it was a blue bar and an orange button, or a green button. Green
yeah.
button.
And I hated that button.
Yeah.
The first thing I did with XP was change it back to the
I thought it was
98
XP
style.
when they did the Rolling Stones campaign. Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought that they paid for Rolling Stones for Windows 95.
All right. Well,
It
I'm
was
sure
crazy
the community
Chat's
will.
saying 95.
The thing is,
Okay.
getting rid of the start button makes sense because in the current implementation of Windows 8, the developer preview, hitting that start button, which I instinctively want to do do a search or something, just jumps to that start screen, which I hate. I hate jumping back and forth between desktop and start.
Have you used it
I don't
at
mind
all?
it. I don't
Or
mind.
You just hate the idea of it.
No. When I used it on the
Okay.
laptop, I hate because I clicked it, or even hitting the start button, jump me to the start screen. I don't mind that the start screen's there. I just don't want to use it.
I think a lot of this stuff, I think this is going to be a real jarring transition for users. I think people are going to flip out when the start button, when so much of what they're accustomed to goes away at once. If you think about, like, the nearest transition, I apologize for bringing back to Apple stuff because we do that a lot. But I mean, when Apple ditched the OS 9, the traditional Mac model that launched with the original Mac and was more or less the same with additions for 10 years, or 15 years even, when they launched OS 10 and introduced the dock and kind of the only thing they kept was that top menu bar, we're in the same situation here. They're keeping the taskbar. They're getting rid of start menu. They're reimagining what a start menu should be, and this is the end of the traditional desktop in Windows.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest overhaul Windows has had since 3 went to 95.
Yeah. So, and if you think back, 95 was in a time when we weren't sure that the internet was going to be a thing. Like that UI was designed.
Yeah, it's a different world now.
Pre-AOL, pre-dial-up internet everywhere. It was that launched in I think August of '95, which meant it would probably probably been working on.
So do you think,
for 4 or
Mike?
5
Do you think
years.
this is do you think there's more than previous versions of Windows where they've just kind of iterated and made it a little bit better, or in the case of Vista,
in
worse?
some cases, yeah.
But they didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It was kind of evolution. This is revolution. Do you think they're taking a risk doing this?
I think every time they launch a new version of Windows, they take a risk.
Yeah,
But
but,
they have to.
I'm
I mean,
saying it's
roadmap.
not that big a risk.
Well, this time
Because
it is.
they're not reinventing the wheel each time. This time they are reinventing the wheel.
But they're adding different, like a fifth wheel. Because
Yeah, and we all know how well how useful fifth
five-wheel
wheels
cars.
are.
Yeah. Because the Windows 7 desktop is still going to be there, and Windows 7 we all love. It's not perfect. There are things that suck in Windows 7 that they're improving. The file transfer stuff they're improving. So it's not like they're investing all the resources in Start, but a large chunk of it is going to be in Start.
I think it's definitely going to be a culture shock for a lot of users.
There's two things. Corporations aren't going to want to roll this out because they're not going to have to train new users on how to use the new UI stuff.
But they have to adopt it eventually, right? It's just a force of nature.
No,
Windows.
there are still companies running Windows XP. I mean, it's there. I'm sure there's somebody out there running Windows 2000. Or
You're right.
Windows
Actually,
98 or Windows 95.
Oftentimes, when I'm in a retail or like a travel place or whatever, and you look at they're still running XP. Or in some cases, it may even be 95. It's probably XP skinned. Because you can make it look like 95, but it looks old as shit. There's computer systems they're still running.
I guarantee you somewhere there's a car repair place running a Windows 3.1 based point of sale system.
No question.
Well, think of it this way. And they're also targeting release for the same time as desktop version for Windows on ARM. Let's say, assuming Windows 8 launches at the end of this year, like come November holiday season, tablets are going to be like, this is like the big year for tablets. We have Ice Cream Sandwich, you have possibly iPad 3 with a big iOS update maybe, and Windows 8, which can be optimized for tablets. Someone going to a store, right? Maybe not just a normal consumer, and hardware aside, because Microsoft doesn't have control of the hardware. If the hardware is very similar, they're all going to be thin and light, nice screens, good battery life, and you can either buy iOS, the iPad 3, which has how many hundreds of thousands of iOS apps, fun games, great games, and whatever. An Android tablet, so Ice Cream Sandwich tablet, or maybe the next version, or a Windows on ARM tablet where you have the Metro apps. But then if you want, you could swap over desktop and run Word and add a Bluetooth keyboard and have the full Word Windows Explorer experience. That seems more no compromise than the other options right now.
And the interesting thing about that is, my hunch is that maybe not Samsung, but I bet that Toshiba and LG and a lot of those other people that are making ARM tablets for Android right now are going to take advantage of that work that they've already done and will roll very similar Windows-based tablets.
Yeah, exactly.
The question is, when are you going to be able to swap between them? Are you going to be able to install Android on your Windows tablet? Are you going to be able to install Windows on your Android tablet?
I think
that's going to be fun for the hackers.
Right. I think it's, the desktop side of this discussion, I think, is not really the interesting part. It's like people are resistant to change. Look at what happens every time Facebook gets a facelift. People bitch and moan, and then 3 months later, it's all blown over, and people are just using it and they forgot what the old version was like. People will bitch and moan about the new Windows, and then it will blow over, and they'll just get on with it. What Microsoft has shown with Vista is if they can survive that, they can survive anything.
Well, but
the important part of Windows 8 is going to be whether or not this leads to Microsoft becoming a player in mobile and tablets, which they currently are not.
Yeah,
that's the interesting part to me.
So
corporate didn't embrace Vista. Corporate America and enterprise didn't embrace Vista.
Yeah, because the reason why corporate didn't is because it doesn't matter how excellent the new operating system is. The corporate people are always the last to transition over.
That's not the case with
the systems
Windows 7,
because the IT, the systems and support for corporations are built around what currently works. There's not like they don't care about having the newest shiniest thing. They just want what works and what the infrastructure is there for. And by the time they would have transitioned over, the story was already everywhere that Vista had a fuckload of problems. So they're like, well, why would we do this?
I mean, that's not necessarily true now. I mean, Windows 7 had a faster corporate adoption rate than anything previous. Prior to XP, I guess.
Yeah, probably because they had skipped the Vista generation.
Vista, but I mean, IT departments are moving faster than they have before, and I mean, we're seeing things like, we saw the rollout of the iPhone. From the time they supported Exchange to the time people were deploying it in big corporate installs was faster than anything they'd ever done before, despite the fact that Apple had really broken Exchange clients that didn't follow the security policies and all the stuff that corporate people usually worry about. So because people are clamoring for new stuff faster, that's what pushes that into corporate. And if people don't want Windows tablets, then it's going to hurt the corporate side too.
Functionality side, the marketing of Windows 8 in any of its iterations, that's going to make or break it.
I'm going to be very interested to see it. Microsoft, I think, in the last decade, marketing has been one of their weakest elements, and it's why they've really struggled in the public mindset. Like, yes, we understand that there's still a massive force in corporate, and there's still in a massive number of homes. They are the number one operating system by a massive ratio still.
Right.
But they're not cool and sexy anymore the way that Apple and Android and these new emergent brands are. They need to find a way to make this cool and interesting to consumers in a way that currently and historically for the last 10 years they have not been doing.
I think the Android ads are terrible, but they're successful in bringing awareness to Android. And the Windows 7 was great product, is a great product, and word of mouth is great on that, but their ads are still terrible.
I don't know if the ads for Android really are even that much of a factor. I mean, what really has got Android as install base was the way in which Google went around it. They made it free and easy for developers to use in such a way that it just became ubiquitous.
You mean for hardware?
So for hardware vendors, it became their preferred option. So it's just suddenly just everyone's using it, and it just kind of earned its ubiquity that way. Not by winning over fans.
It bootstrapped them into iPhone competitiveness,
right?
Which is what everybody's worried about. The thing about all of this stuff that really matters is when Vista launched in 2005, 2006, I can't even remember now. There was no alternative on the desktop for corporate America, for normal people, really. I mean, Macs were a thing. They were still not in a particularly good space. Their laptops were okay, but overpriced. Their desktops were okay, but very overpriced. That situation has changed dramatically now. There's a wide range of competitive options to Windows PCs, starting at $300 for Android tablets and going up through iPads and MacBook Airs and Chromebooks and all the other different things that people can potentially buy. Not all of them are good, but there are options in a way that there weren't when Vista was out. So if Microsoft whiffs this, then they have a really massive problem, both on consumer and on enterprise, because there's other stuff that people can use. Mm-hmm. So anyway, anything else? I think we hit the high points on the Windows 8 stuff. There's a good story. Wes posted highlights from Sinofsky's post. It was like a 3,000 word blog post.
Massive.
And a lot of really scary engineering stuff.
Video's not worth watching either.
Okay, good to know. Other stuff that's been happening, iPad 3 rumors. We're coming up on the end of February. The rumor is
we're coming up in the middle of February.
So yet another
February
iPad
is short.
3 rumor.
We are February. It's the longest February in 4 years.
3 years.
3 years. It's February 9th right now. 1 month from now, 29 days from now, we could be hearing about the iPad 3.
Well, but why?
How do you feel about that, Gary?
Well, here's how I feel about it. I'm very excited to see what the next iPad is going to be. Here's me personally.
Surprise.
So I'm going to go. But I'm probably not.
Revelation.
But I might. There's a good chance I might not buy one.
Yes. Really?
Cut to.
Yeah.
Right. Does this have to do with Lego related purchases or baby?
Yeah, I may have spent all my iPad money. No, I was going to say, first of all, because my iPad use is like really shrunk, it's going to have to be really compelling for me to feel like it's worth spending the money. If it's got the super high res display, which I think it's going to have, then that will probably do it for me. Yeah. We'll see. So that's all well and good. What I was going to say about the newsworthiness of it is, yeah, I get it. It's Apple. They're always, again, we've said it already, they're always going to generate news and excitement about even the smallest glimmer of a rumor. But like, why is this being treated like, ooh, maybe they'll, like, we know they're going to do it. It's March. The iPads get announced in March. This is the third generation now.
It's like
people are so desperate for anything. Like, even the rumor that could come out potentially on February 29th, now be announced on February 29th.
It's a leap year, that's right.
To leap ahead.
Take a leap.
Take a leap ahead with a new iPad.
It's terrible.
Right? Also, if they did a February 29th announcement, they would have it ready in time for South by Southwest, first week of March, like they did last year.
Really, that's...
Well, if they announce it and it's
the
in
movers
stores,
and shakers.
They're going to... Well, okay. The launch plan will be the same as it was for the iPhone 4S. They'll announce it 10 days later. You'll be able to buy it because that's the fastest they can get through the FCC. This will be the third time that's happened. It's locked down at this point, right? If anything, it might be sooner. It will not. They will not pre-announce by more than 10 days.
I just don't understand. I mean, I get it. There is a cult of Apple, and people go crazy for rumors. But like the only rumors I'm interested in are what the specs are and what it's going to be, and how they might be changing things up. Are
you getting Appled out, Gary?
No, I'm focusing my Apple interest in the things that I think are actually still open for debate. Whether or not there's going to be a new iPad in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Of course there is. Why are people discussing that?
Here's the thing, though. They did the thing last summer with the iPhone where they pushed the launch date back 3 or 4 months. And they did the thing, like, you know the bits in Charlie Brown where Lucy holds the football for Charlie Brown and then yanks it away at the last minute? That would be much more damaging to Charlie Brown ultimately over a longer period of time if 1 out of 40 times she let him kick it, right? Maybe he's
thinking, well, maybe, well, she's done it before. Right. There is some precedent.
Right. Charlie Brown is basically mildly retarded.
Right.
Because he always just goes after it and
no
doesn't
child
realize
should be that bold.
She's going to yank the ball away every fucking time.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is by pulling the ball away last June on the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 5, because this time last year we were all thinking, oh my God, it's iPhone 5 time. They put that kernel of doubt in people's mind. Mayy the iPad 2 is good.
But that's not
enough,
a deliberate thing, though. Again, Apple. I mean, I guess Apple has got some interest in preserving a bit of mystery. That's part of their brand, part of their cult. But I think they know that they're going to sell just as many iPad 3s if they announce it in March or in April. I mean, they don't care. I mean, they do care. They care about the right things, not trivia like this.
At this point, I think that they want to make sure they get something out in the first quarter, so there's not a massive drop on quarter-to-quarter sales revenue numbers. But I think what we'll see. I mean, March is iPad.
I don't
iPad
think they
month
care about quarter to
has
quarter.
been iPad sales month for the last 2 years. Yeah. We know that, right? Something's probably going to come out. The rumor right now is it's the first week of March. That's what All Things D posted.
And both Jim Dalrymple of Loop Insights and John Gruber both made very simple comments. Yep, for both of those. These are people with golden sources.
I can't roll my eyes hard enough at golden anonymous sources. We have. So then there was also.
I wish I had a golden anonymous source.
There was also a Globe and Mail. This is the worst way to get traffic in the world on a website.
No.
Norm. Oh, you just want to know for purchase, so you can know how much money you can spend on Lego this month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, don't forget March 1st, March 15th.
Double VIP points.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah.
Sweet.
There's actually a couple of things.
I take my glasses off and rub my eyes. I rolled them so hard.
There's a couple of things I'm looking at that I'm going to be saving until. I think we have to make a trip to the Lego store in the first 2 weeks in March.
I shouldn't have bought double VIP. Oh, it's 10% savings or 10% for future purchases.
You're talking about important stuff here. Hey, did you know that there's Lord of the Rings sets coming this year?
I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested at all in those Lord of the Rings sets.
Yeah.
Please stop tweeting that at us.
Like I'd buy Harry Potter sets. If I'm buying, I just don't care about those franchises.
You don't want magical franchises. You only want.
No, I want. If there was Game of Thrones Lego, I'd be all over that shit.
God.
How about an Ultimate Collector Series, The Wall? That might not be the most interesting build.
You get the
it's the million bricks that all look the same, and then one
17
elevator.
feet high. You have to get a special room. And a 1 brick wide tunnel at the bottom.
Here's what I'm interested in about iPad 3. I'm interested to see if it's going to be a straight replacement or if they're going to keep the existing iPad around as a lower cost entry level option.
Right.
That would
to combat
in a way to kind
market.
of just to fortify their rear.
That's question number
their
one.
Flanks,
question
their
number
flanks
two,
they must fortify.
Question number 2 is it really going to be a quad resolution? Those are the only things that I think really matter.
Yeah, the quad core, dual core thing, I don't care that
I
much
think
about.
here's my guess. I
LTE.
think that whatever the resolution is, I think it's going to be high enough that you'll go, holy shit, the way you did when you first saw the iPhone 4.
Really?
And they will continue to market it under the Retina brand.
But there's only one way. The only way they can do that, assuming they don't significantly change the way iOS works, which they aren't going to do at this point because everybody have to redo their apps and they haven't telegraphed long enough to make that happen at launch, is if they go to a quad resolution display.
204 by 1536.
Yeah, it's got to be scalable.
Which on a 10-inch tablet is mind blowing.
Oh,
I mean, Samsung has
the resolution.
25. Samsung has a 2560 by 1600 display.
Yeah.
Which is even higher pixel density. That is a pentile display.
I think there's a good chance we'll see it. Look, the precedent is there. With the iPhone 4, Apple leapfrogged over everybody in terms of resolution.
It's a significantly different problem, though. 2560 by 1536 or 2048 by 1536 is a ridiculously high resolution for these.
Again, though,
these SoCs.
especially under Tim Cook, though, like you said before, their supply chain and the way that they can muscle vendors and get the things that other companies could not get is very compelling.
I'm not doubting that they can get the displays. It seems like the displays are out there. They're being made. That's not the problem. The problem is, how is the hardware going to push those pixels so that when you're playing a game like Infinity Blade, is it going to render at 720p or 768p and then scale up?
Yeah.
Like, what is that going to be a noticeably better improvement, or is it just going to be clearer, sharper text?
I don't think
we
it's
will
native
see
for those games.
Right. There's no way that they can do native on those games. A desktop PC can barely do native on those games at that resolution.
You know, it's February when we're doing
with a 125 watt power.
If you go back
video
1
card.
year and you listen to our podcast 1 year ago, we're having these exact same discussions.
Yeah.
1 year ago,
Kill me.
about the iPad 2.
Yeah, the thing
Groundhog
I'm
Day.
most exciting about the iPad 3 launch, even more so than the actual product, is that the fucking these endless circular conversations can end, and we can just look at the product.
No,
Yeah.
don't worry.
We're finally
'cause
And then
out
we
of
can
the echo
start.
chamber.
Then we can start talking about iPad 4.
iPhone 4.
iPad
5.
5.
iPhone 5.
Although, if you
Yeah,
go
we
back
got moved to
to
iPhone 5. That's right.
2010, when we were back in the basement in the old building, and talk about before even the iPad 1 was announced.
Yeah.
I described it as the Nexus, as being Soren standing on top of the building, of the mountain, watching a Nexus come and the world be changed, and it was.
Well, it wasn't quite exactly like
Are you
that.
fucking kidding? I can't imagine the world before the iPad.
How often do you use your iPad now, Norm?
Every day.
How often do you use your iPad now, Gary?
I actually use it fairly often now because I docked it onto my nightstand, and I use that radio alarm clock app that you recommended on your app of the day is great. I love that.
Yeah, because you can get radio from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I have a BBC radio on it. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love it. And now that is now very much my go-to. Reach over, tool around on the internet in bed, put it back on the dock, and it can also function as my alarm clock and all that good stuff. So I use it mostly for that now. It doesn't really leave the bedroom. My MacBook Air does everything else.
So you're using it as a $700 alarm clock. That's what
No,
you're saying.
and internet tablet and Netflix and anything else I want it to do.
That's fair. And do we want to talk about the core? There are rumors about what CPU they're going to put in the new iPad 3. It's Cortex A15, right?
No, they're saying dual core A9.
Are they going to market it as
dual-core
like the
A9, I
A6 or something?
Probably be
They're going to
A6.
market it as the A6, yeah. No matter what it is.
I don't care about how many cores.
The point is, it doesn't
performance.
matter.
Let me load more. Let me
Again,
load more
we-
web
we-
pages up in Safari.
We know this stuff. We know that what's smart to talk about these days is experience, not specs, and yet we still talk about specs more than experience.
Well, it's because we don't know what the experience is now, but we may know what the specs are.
Well, the reason, what Will's saying is that we want to extrapolate. So we say, if iPad has 2 cores right now and has 4 cores, its experience can be twice as better. That's
Right.
That's the only way we can.
Yeah.
All right.
Chrome. Speaking of tablet stuff, Google
Phone
announced
stuff.
Chrome on Ice Cream Sandwich.
We'll make the obvious joke. It is the web browser for the 1% of Android users.
Is it 1% even?
1%.
Oh, only 1% of Android users have
Have ice cream
ice
sandwich.
cream
Have ice cream
sandwich.
People who have a Galaxy Nexus right now.
Yes.
Nothing else is running
Well,
Ice Cream Sandwich.
and Transformer Prime.
Now,
oh, right.
for,
And people who are running Cyanogen.
for those people, how is Chrome going to be better than the default Android browser?
Much better.
It's a more capable browser.
Oh, it's much faster.
It's the difference between Safari on OS 10 or Windows and Safari on the iPad or iPhone.
Frankly, it amazes me that that wasn't there from the beginning. I mean, Apple have done a good job of, hey, Safari, you use that on your Mac. It's the browser is the same on the same branding, and you recognize it on your phone. I actually was baffled because I'm not a big Android user. I don't know everything about the phone. That when I found out the default browser wasn't already called Chrome, and wasn't some mobile version
Yeah, it
of
was
Chrome.
called Browser.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well,
Google have done a great job of building up a tremendous brand around Chrome. They did Super Bowl ads, and people know what Chrome is. It's a big deal. Like, why isn't it part of the
so to
Android
understand why
experience?
that isn't the case, you have to remember how Android started and how Chrome started. Chrome started as an offshoot of WebKit in Google. They acquired Android before that had started, and I guess that they just never made. First off, the SoCs weren't capable enough to run a real full-fledged browser probably at that point, a full-fledged version of WebKit. But browser is based on WebKit as well, right? I think.
Sure
I don't know. Maybe not.
There are browsers.
The
based
point
on
is,
WebKit.
this is exciting because there's a maybe not fully fledged, but a more fully fledged browser on phones.
It's
and
faster.
soon tablets.
When is this coming?
Beta's
It's
out
out
right
now.
now. If you have Ice Cream Sandwich.
Given how close, I don't know why they didn't get it built in there and have it be a big selling point as part of the ICS unveiling.
Think about how you sell that to normal people, and you say, "Hey, the browser that we've been telling you was awesome for all this time, it really was shit. This one's much better."
No.
It's a
no,
hard
not
thing to
really.
sell.
They're
that.
upgrading. Then you may as well say that they're saying that the camera and every other factor that they've upgraded was shit before.
No, but
they're just saying they've made it even better.
But with a camera, it's easy to attach a number to it, and people say, "Oh, 8's higher than 5. That's better than the my new camera will be better than my old camera.
We'll say
even though that may or may
faster
not be
than
the
ever
case.
now worthy of the name Chrome.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, they've done all those
I don't
ads
think
how fast Chrome is.
I
with
don't.
the lightning bolt.
I don't think normal people think that browsers are underpowered on their phones and tablets.
Normal people, correct. Like my friends who have gingerbread phones or even Froyo phones think the browser is fine. They like it.
Well,
They can get around.
I
I
don't
can
know
use
if
the
there's,
web.
if there's any aspect of a phone where performance is apparent to the everyday person, it's rendering web pages, right? Because that's probably what you spend most of your time doing on when you're using the internet on your phone.
Yeah, the browser is the
yeah.
most important piece of application on my mobile device. It needs to be fast, and Safari
And a lot of
right now is the golden
when people are
standard for
going,
that.
when people are doing the Louis C.K. thing and going, oh, this why is it so fucking slow?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it might be because their signal is poor. Other times it's because the browser's not very good at rendering the page. We've seen that before.
And the bigger thing for me, the fail point for me most of the time on mobile web is when you get stuck in some mobile ghetto and can't get out. Like lately on my iPad in the official Twitter app, for no reason that I can tell, when I click a Twitter-hosted image link now, it sends me to the mobile sign-up for
God, that's
Twitter
happening
page.
to me all the time. What the fuck is going on there?
Really fucking frustrating.
Yeah, it's suddenly become a big problem.
Yeah, I can't click images.
To the point that I'm going to start using a different Twitter client.
I'm
for
actually
iPad.
thinking about getting Tweetbot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, Tweetbot's really good. I don't know what their iPad version is like. I don't know if they have an iPad.
Oh, I'm
version.
just talking about on the
updated.
phone. It happens on the phone
Yeah,
as
on
well.
the phone it's maddening. So
I might give Tweetbot a trial
shit
run.
Twitter has to fix.
Well, that's why I don't use Twitter as the hosting service, image hosting service when I share. Use YFrog. You can choose that if you on
Oh,
your
it's
phone.
only on the Twitter hosted images?
Yeah.
It's only
Okay.
on Twitter hosted. But if you use the official Twitter clients to upload, then or the one that's built into iOS, then
You can choose.
You can't choose to use YFrog, the one built into iOS.
Yeah, you can.
Really?
I think you can.
You can
Oh,
absolutely
I
do
didn't
that.
know that. So yeah, so that's a thing. It's out. You can try it out. If you have a Galaxy Nexus or Transformer Prime, you should definitely download it because it's really good.
All right.
We borrowed Joey's phone, fucked around with it, and Ryan spent some significant time with it. Oh, I didn't realize that. You can use
What are the
there's
options?
a bunch of choices.
Twitter, YFrog, TwitPic Lockers, MobiPicture, TwitGoo, Posterous, or Imagely.
Posterous,
Wow.
for what it's worth, is my favorite way to do that because you can then blast images out from
What does
there
it use when you
to Posterous.
upload something to Twitter from inside the photo app? What does it use?
That's what it- that's
whatever.
whatever
it uses
you
whatever
chose
it
there.
defines there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
right.
That's what we were just talking about just then. Now that thing, that moment that we had a moment ago. Nest.
First world problems.
Nest, the fine folks who brought the smart thermostat. I don't. Do you remember that? You might not have been here when we were
You know,
talking
I
about
No,
saw
I
that
remember
at
talking about
CES, and I wasn't like overly impressed.
I didn't realize they were at CES, or I would have done a
It
video
was-
with them.
It was the event you left early.
Oh, the Pactor night.
Yeah.
So the idea is, it's a thermostat, and when you first plug it in, it says, "Hey, what time do you get home from work? What time do you wake up? What temperature do you like it to be? What's the coldest you want it to be? What's the warmest you want it to be?" And it's a very simple interface. It's like a couple of buttons. It's a knob that you twist to give fast, responsive. They described it as, I think, iPhone-like or Apple-like kind of smoothness. And Honeywell has sued the living shit out of them over a bunch of patent violations. Because apparently Honeywell, who makes the thermostats, I don't know if you've used a Honeywell thermostat, but I used to have one, a programmable one. And you basically open it up and there's 55 million buttons. It looks like a Sony remote, right? You open it up and there's buttons for each day of the week. I've actually programmed sprinkler, like the sprinkler, the thing that controls my sprinklers, is easier to program than a Honeywell thermostat that I used to have was. Because you have to have the manual out and you have to hold it up and you're like, okay, this light on means that this is on Tuesday and this is the wake up time, and it takes a really long time, and God forbid the power should ever go out because then you have to redo the whole thing.
Hey.
Yeah. Did they just break a million?
What?
Did they just break a million?
No. They're,
Breaking news.
no, they're like 955, but this is a different thing.
Okay.
Although Tim Schafer did tweet something very funny. He said, "Oh, we're at 955. If we hit 985, I'll put in RTS elements, and if we hit 1,000,000, I will take them back out," which I thought was quite funny. According to Wall Street Journal today, Google will mirror Apple's winning hardware-software formula with an Android-powered entertainment system that wirelessly streams content through homes. Isn't that Google TV?
That's Google TV.
But I think this is
unspecified.
This is a new
No.
thing.
It's on the list later down, but this is the rumored Google TV, Google designed.
Google TV 2.0?
No. It's the Galaxy Nexus, the Nexus of Google TV. So right now, Sony's
make
making
Google-
Google TVs, and LG and other companies making
Not
Google
Logitech.
TVs. No, Logitech bailed. This is Google saying we're going to take the same software and make our own thing out of it. I mean, I think if you look at the things that have had an impact for normal people, the technologies that have had an impact for normal people in the last year, AirPlay is really massive. Like
AirPlay's terrific.
I just actually sent my parents an Apple TV the other day, and I'm really interested to see how it goes for them because it is like the ability to just have something that you're looking at and hit the button and it just shows up on the TV.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
The Apple, Apple is that AirPlay feature is so great that oftentimes, if I'm turning on a box to look at content, I'll choose the Apple TV just because once that's on and running, I can always go straight to AirPlay if I want and not have to switch over from another box.
I was watching YouTube yesterday, and the new YouTube Xbox interface, I thought it was okay. It's still so slow. If I want like a specific YouTube video, I have
compared to just typing it
on my phone and just sending it over AirPlay and have it pop up.
The only thing I like about doing stuff on the Xbox is because if you've got the little keyboard add-on for your controller, you can actually type stuff in a lot quicker.
But I think that keyboard's really bad.
Yeah, but it's still better than navigating a little box around an on-screen keyboard.
And the on-screen keyboard is one long line of letters. It's not even multiple rows.
Well, but even the Apple one, which is multiple rows, is not. It's so painstakingly slow.
The point is, I don't need any UI, any interface, any of that stuff on the device. What I want is a thing that I can send AirPlay videos to and never have to think about. The rest of the Apple TV stuff is nice, but that's gravy for me. The $99 is worth it just to get AirPlay.
Yeah, it's a great feature.
Because it's like Norm said, it's always much faster to just be looking on the phone or the tablet, find what you want, and blast it over there than it is to try to browse through.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking on my iPad or my phone or whatever, and I see some YouTube link that I'm giggling at or whatever, or a story, whatever it may be, and Leah goes, "What are you laughing at?" Rather than go, "Oh, here's my computer," I can just go button. It's up on the big screen of TV for everyone to see.
The only downside to that is, especially when you're pumping video through, that's all you can do with your tablet while you're watching that video.
Well, yeah.
So you can't then multitask and fuck around on the internet.
Well, no, but I mean,
but
how busy are you? It's not like, well, I'll put this video up, but I need to get back to work while you watch this YouTube video.
I'm going to tell you a secret. Rarely do I sit on the couch watching TV or video without doing something else on a phone or tablet.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that once you put it up on the screen, you want to put it up on the screen and then get your tablet back?
No. Well, all I'm saying is it's for short clips. It's for watching dog videos on YouTube and cat videos on YouTube.
No, you're not going to use it for Netflix.
Yeah, you're not going to use it for Netflix or watching Amazing
like a movie trailer or the minute or two it takes to show like a
Exactly.
piece of amusing content. That's what it's good for.
The bad thing about it is usually it takes longer to switch to the Apple TV than it does to actually get the content queued.
But any long-form content, I'm just going to be watching natively from whatever box.
From an app or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish Apple TV or AirPlay worked the other way, where from my computer, because I know from iTunes on Windows, I can send to Apple TV. I want to be able to send to my phone.
Okay.
It happened yesterday because I have video and audio on my computer that I want to use on my phone and listen to over headphones.
Well, and it's also dopey that you can't AirPlay from a MacBook or a Mac or a Windows machine or whatever. You can do that. You have to use kind of janky third-party apps. In most cases.
I hate iTunes Match now.
We've talked about that.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about that later. Nest, Honeywell, they're getting sued for a ton of patent violations. Interestingly, Honeywell isn't seeking money. They just want them to stop making that product, so they're trying to stifle competition, it seems like. That's it. Editorial.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time before Honeywell.
10 years apply.
Yeah, Honeywell, thermostats get replaced by Nest because they're really expensive. And most people, when building houses, the thermostat's the last thing they want to spend, a couple $100 on.
That's not necessarily true, because one of the things that our one of our readers, I think Dvorak, works in that business. He said they were super excited about it because it's a great upsell, because it's something that's really easy for people to understand. Hey, it's $200 more for this
shiny.
this thing that you can remote control with your iPhone, rather than having to program with the 50 million buttons and that you'll never be able to change.
Maybe it's because we live in San Francisco and the weather is always pleasant and I don't need to use the thermostat.
Yeah, you don't know what a thermostat's for.
No.
That's the problem.
I sometimes I flip the heat and sometimes turn it off.
See, in a real climate, like having someplace where it gets cold, if you live in Minnesota, the ability to have the heater turn on 20 minutes before you wake up and warm up the house, life-changing.
Hey, it's not that bad where I live either, where it gets pretty cold up on the hill there.
You have no idea what it's like to get cold.
Yeah, I do.
Well, you lived in England, but
yeah,
it doesn't even get that cold there.
No, it gets pretty cold.
Have you ever had to put plastic over your windows to keep the cold out?
Oh, here we go. Lay down on the couch, Will.
Yeah.
You're in a safe place.
Did you have to chop down the trees and use the trees as blankets?
I don't think this chair reclines
Have the
anymore.
trees stopped screaming, Will? Some guy, you know that scale of the universe thing. I'm sure we'll talk about it later. That scale of the universe thing that's going around. Someone from Zynga just tweeted it, going, "Oh, this is great." I really want to tweet back, "I look forward to Universeville," but I think it'd be too mean.
ITV rumors. This is the Apple TV television.
So Best Buy contracts out surveys they do with customers for what products would you see in Best Buy? Would you do Would you buy a TiVo? Do you want to see more of these kiosks?
Would you buy a $1,500
This is a perfect example of how
TV?
bullshit internet rumors get started.
Such bullshit internet rumors. So one of these survey companies sent out a survey to Best Buy customers, or people who signed up, and saying, would you be interested in buying a TV made by Apple that has these features, and listed a bunch of features, there's a screen size and a price point, and eyesight and everything. And that survey got leaked out, and then the reports started popping up with some sites saying, Best Buy survey outs Apple TV. Which
anyone who knows anything about the way Apple operates knows that is bullshit.
Bullshit.
Those survey questions are filled in from the same place that we get the information we're talking about on the podcast right now. They look at what people are talking about on sites, and they say, "Oh, ITV, there's search density around." Well, we don't do the search density stuff, but basically, they're looking at the same rumors that everybody else looks at and say, "Oh, we should put this in the survey."
And now perpetuating the rumors.
However,
the thing is, no one called Best Buy. None of the people originally reported on it called Best Buy.
Internet reporters just throwing stuff up on the site without making calls to actually check the veracity of the story? Surely not.
Wired did and got a statement from Best Buy, and it was, as everyone expected. It was just speculation on Best Buy's part.
Now there was a more reported ITV rumor story that went around earlier this week as well, which was from the Globe and Mail. They had two anonymous sources that listed a $14.99 42 inch or 44 inch.
I saw both.
Yeah, 42 inch. I think.
In that one story, the TV went from 42 to 44 inches.
Oh, wow.
That's how
Obsolete
brilliantly reported
in
it
two
was.
paragraphs.
Yeah, so this was according to anonymous sources who spilled the beans to the Globe and Mail. It'll include Siri-powered voice control, the virtual assistant, blah, 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 blah. Same rumors we've seen before, just with two anonymous sources from the Globe and Mail. I mean, whatever. A bunch of people sent this to me and said I should get the egg machine ready. I don't think it's, two anonymous
I'm actually,
sources.
the funny thing is,
17 anonymous
I've been on the opposite side saying there will be a panel. And the weird thing is, the more these rumors build up, the more I'm actually coming around to your way of thinking that there won't be.
If it sounds too good to be true, do you know what that means it usually is?
It doesn't sound too good to be true. It just doesn't sound like a logical move.
It doesn't sound like a good product at all. I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah. Sony can't make money with their TV division. Samsung is pulling back on their estimates of sales this year. I mean, nobody is making money with TVs right now. People have already bought their HD TVs. I don't think Apple's going to go into that market because they're not going to succeed, or not going to succeed at the level.
I mean, look,
of
it
which
doesn't.
they're
It's
expected
not.
to.
It's not uncompelling. The idea of a TV that has Siri and FaceTime built in, and Apple TV, and all the things that you can use to.
Are you
going to
put a 44-inch TV in your living room?
No, because that's ridiculously small for a living room.
Right.
Well,
what kind of peasant would have a 44-inch TV?
I
Is
know.
what you're thinking.
How can you even
Maybe
look
a
at that?
44-inch companion TV. I'll put it in vertical, so I have dual TVs in my living room.
Oh, that's true. You can put a TV
You
on
know
your
what?
TV so you can watch stuff while you're watching
I would
stuff.
actually like to see the figures on what is the average size, the average size of a TV in
I
someone's
bet it's
living room.
probably 40
42.
inches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
37 or 42.
Yeah. We're kidding, by the way, about the peasants.
So
and
for the
small
one,
TVs.
you meant chuds, obviously.
Yeah, I meant chuds.
The 1% like us. Clearly,
Don't fucking put me in this. Don't loop me in here.
No, really?
No.
How big's your TV again?
55 inches. 58 inches.
Okay, all right. Well,
Right,
I submit that would be
Right.
in the 1% of TV sizes in people's living rooms.
That was the sweet spot on the high. That's like 75%. I'm top.
No, I think it's higher than that. You're in a higher percentile than that, my friend.
I bet. My guess is that top 1% is nothing you can buy in stores that you can go into Best Buy and buy.
No,
bet
I don't
it's
think
top
so.
1%
When
is
you're-
gonna be the 100-inch Panasonic that Kevin Smith has.
No, but
Stuff like
you're
that.
talking about the top 1% of 1% at that point.
Maybe.
When you think about like how mainstream TVs are and everyone's got them, you're basically saying that about 3 million people in America have those mega TVs, which I don't really believe.
I'm going to look up and see how much this costs right now.
Real-time research.
Yeah, I think
my
that the
God.
price of the 58-inch Panasonics has gone down to the point that they're $2,500. Okay, never mind. Move on. I rescind my
1%
argument.
TV person.
Yes. I don't think this is real. I still don't think it's
All
right.
right, let's move on. There's nothing left to say about it.
Kodak is killing digital camera production.
Consumer digital camera.
Consumer
production.
digital camera.
Well, aren't they bankrupt? I mean,
Yes, they are bankrupt.
So they still make 75% of their money from commercial camera stuff.
I wonder
And
how much-
they're not against licensing the brand, the Kodak brand.
Oh God, they're not going to do what Polaroid did and license their brand to shitty OEM manufacturers, are they? That would make me so sad because that Panasonic stuff is such garbage now. Ugh, yuck.
I hope they don't. There's a long and shameful history of what happens when a company dies, but the brand, which is the only thing that's worth anything, survives. I mean, look at Atari.
Yeah.
The fucking humiliation that brand was subjected to over the years is just sad.
I don't know who owns that stuff now. Is it
whoever bought Infogrames had it for a
They're
while.
gone. Infogrames went under too.
I know, but I'm saying under their ownership, that the prestige of the Atari brand was basically just fucking smashed with a mallet until it was worth almost nothing.
Yeah.
Like the Atari name.
Well, that happened to a bunch of other Midway.
When you think about original Atari, you think, oh, so awesome. When you think about what Atari is, I don't even know who even has it now, or even if it's being used. But like the Atari name on a box today means almost nothing, I think.
Yeah.
To anyone who knows anything about the history of games,
unless
certainly.
it's attached,
you might
to
still be able to trick a few regular people.
Classic Atari games.
Yes,
like if it's
but
a
even then
licensing deal,
even then you don't know what you're really getting.
So yeah, that's a thing. The FBI, Wall Street Journal submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to get Steve Jobs' FBI file, which they will usually release after someone dies.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting stuff. I mean, if you've read the Walter Isaacson book, there were no real surprises there. A lot of people really don't like Steve Jobs, and a lot of people really do.
Why does Steve Jobs have an FBI file? I mean, we're out of the Hoover days where he had files on everyone, aren't we?
That's what I was getting ready to tell you. George Herbert Walker Bush was considering him. Bush 1 was considering him for a position, an appointed position in the federal government. I don't know if it was a cabinet position, but a like innovation. I can't remember the exact position, but it was basically an innovation,
like a tech czar or something.
Like a be the dude who figures out how to make American business work better.
Right.
And this was in '91.
They should have given him that job. We might not be so fucked up now.
Well, so
I don't think he would have taken it.
My hunch is, because it seemed like from the stuff that was in the report that he would have passed with glowing color. You know, he talked frankly about his drug use. He didn't have any skeletons because the daughter stuff had come out. Even the people who hated him said yes, he'd be absolutely good in this kind of a position, and it would be good for him, good for the government. And it doesn't say why. Like, there's no obvious reason that he wouldn't have gotten the offer if he wanted to take it, unless Herbert Walker Bush was worried about the drug stuff.
Do you think if Bill Gates ran for president, he could get elected?
No, not a chance.
Why not?
Because I'm sure he has skeletons. Nerd skeletons.
Yeah, but so does everybody who ran. All people have them, and yet
He's got better
someone
things to
gets
do.
elected every 4 years.
It's not worth his time.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd run for president. I don't think he wants to go through that kind of unearthing process.
I'm not saying whether or not he would want to do it. I'm saying, do you think he's electable?
I think he's too much of a nerd. I don't think he can speak well enough to get people
He
to vote
cannot.
for him.
Fair enough.
I mean, if you think
He's
about,
the guy you want standing next to the
think
president.
about the people who are running for the presidency right now, and think about how those debates would go.
Well, I can
when
tell you
Bill
that I would
Gates
vote
gets
for
up there
Gates ahead of any of those guys.
with a high nasally voice and starts talking about giving away all of your money and malaria and stuff like that, and he's not going to get elected. There's no chance.
Yeah, you can't get elected talking about philanthropy.
Right. No, absolutely not. So yeah, the I think the big takeaway is that people who hated him said he was still good for the role. They found ways.
Yeah,
to
just
say that
imagine
he
if
was good for the
America
role.
was the Apple of countries. Can you imagine? It'd be fucking great.
Oh, that's
We
a
wouldn't be
happy
in debt.
thought.
What's that?
Wouldn't be in debt.
There'd be a Genius Bar to help with your taxes. The
The
IRS.
budget surplus would be ridiculous.
But we wouldn't get dividends. No money
no
back.
dividends. The government would just
Exactly.
be sitting on all that money.
No.
Those
All the government employees would get iPads.
That's right.
But that's probably going to happen anyway, though.
And the State of the Union would be like a Steve note.
Keynote.
That would be so great.
Oh my God. Have you ever actually used Keynote?
Here's some pictures of around the country how people are happy with their new America.
Have you ever actually used Keynote?
We just opened
Gary?
new democracy in China.
exactly.
They're throwing
We just opened a
eggs.
51st state.
Yeah, on the moon. Wait,
Yeah.
no, that's somebody else. Have you actually used Keynote? Because it's very clearly
That's what they use, right?
that's what they use for Steve Notes.
Yeah. And
and like when you look at how it works with multi-monitor and all that stuff, it is Like you immediately can tell how he keeps track, how he kept track of
Or how all the slides go and stuff.
and the momentum and all that stuff.
Well, I just thought
It's
I just thought he practiced with it a
I'm
lot.
sure, but like I think the
And
origin of
from
Keynote
from where
is-
he's sitting, can't he probably see the next slide as well?
Well, no, when you set up a multi-monitor on that, what it does is it shows you the talking points for the slide you're on, and I would assume that the smart thing that you do is you put next slide notes as the last line of the talking points for your current slide.
Right.
And it has like a running time ticker on the top down to thousandths of milliseconds.
Yeah.
So you can know where you should be in the flow.
I think it's practice.
if you
watch the 1997, like
I'm not.
I never saw Steve Jobs once go, oh wait,
Yeah,
that's the wrong slide.
I'm not saying that the slides weren't that he wasn't practiced and good at it. What I'm saying is they took the tool that he wanted made to deliver his keynotes and then made a product out of it, which is kind of an interesting. Like if you talk about iPhoto being shit because Steve never used it, Keynote clearly is something that he used because it is a really impressive.
If you're someone who has to do one of those type presentations, is Keynote a good thing to use?
I'm not the kind of person that needs to do those kinds of presentations, so I should probably not answer this question.
All right.
It seemed like it to me from what I've futzed around with when we were doing some stuff in the office a few weeks ago.
I mean, it's their version of PowerPoint, right? Basically,
that's exactly what it is, but without all the PowerPointiness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There are no fucked up weird transitions.
I'm pretty sure. I'm a total. Again, if it's something like that where I have no experience how to use that kind of software, if I had to put together a presentation, I'd probably use that because.
Well, you have a Mac.
And it's the most fairly idiot-proof.
$10.
Yeah.
The DirecTV is back. Do you remember? Did any of you ever have DirecTV?
No, I had TiVo.
So DirecTV used to be the original way you could do two-tuner recording on one box was with the DirecTV. It was a Series 2 device, standard def. You had to do all sorts of crazy cabling to make it work. So
I think
you needed two
maybe
wires
Leah had
in.
one. I can't remember. Or she might have had two separate boxes.
It was a magical device. It was a fantastic device because you could watch one channel and record another or record two at the same time. Pretty crazy stuff in like
pretty
2002.
Standard operating procedure these days.
Of course. The world has moved on. They canceled that probably 6 years ago, and haven't had a TiVo offering for satellite in a long time. It just came back this week. It's available nationwide now. It's not a Premiere box, it seems like. It's using the old standard def UI and menu systems. It doesn't support multi-room viewing or the iPad app, or 3D. Not that I think anybody really cares about that. So something to think about. It is out now. You can get that if you have DirecTV still. $199 plus a monthly fee. So, and then the last thing on the news front this week is Google's opt-in web tracking program, the ScreenWise panel. Have you seen this, Norm?
Yeah, of course. You get paid $100 a month if you let Google log all your.
No, you get paid $20 a month.
$20 only.
If you so there's two tiers. One is a browser plugin, which is good for $5 a month. Mm-hmm. It tracks everything that you do on the web that's not part of a private or incognito session.
Okay.
And they'll pay you $20 a month if you get a router. If you replace your router with their router.
It's for the good of the people watching that log. I will not opt in.
Why do you have stuff that you don't want Google to know you're looking at on the interwebs?
I have stuff I don't want anyone.
For example,
bomb tools. I don't know.
You're making bombs?
If you go to your Google history and it tracks your Chrome history and
Norm's very uncomfortable right now.
If you check like all the sites you visit every day, it's actually a lot of websites.
Yeah, it's
a lot
more
websites. It's a lot more pages than you think. Like, how many pages do you visit every day on your day-to-day browsing? Oh, maybe like
I bet I'm top 1% there.
Or 100 web pages. That seems a high end. It's way more than that.
Well, especially if you're looking at individual pages and not sites.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for news. Unless we have anything else. Tim Schafer and the fine folks at Double Fine have done something kind of neat. They basically posted a Kickstarter yesterday that said, "Hey, if we get $400,000? It wasn't very much money. $400,000, then we will make a classic style 2D adventure game
with Ron Gilbert.
Like they used to make at LucasArts, the Day of the Tentacle stuff and all those back in the day, and they're doing it. They got the money.
Yeah, I think
in 6 hours.
If they haven't already hit $1 million, I think by the time people hear this podcast, they certainly will have. And it's pretty phenomenal. They've broken all Kickstarter records, and I think it's going to be a mainstream news story. I think this is going to put
I think
Kickstarter in the news in a big way.
It'll be the fastest they've hit $1 million with a Kickstarter. It'll be the fastest growing Kickstarter. It'll be the most popular Kickstarter. It's a big thing for Kickstarter. Yeah. And the interesting thing about Kickstarter isn't that you're actually investing in the product, because you're not saying, hey, I'm going to give you $15 and then I want some money back when you make money with this thing. It's basically a kind of organized pre-order system that lets you say, okay, this is a product I would buy if it were available. So it removes a lot of the risk from Double Fine for making this product. They can say, okay.
Well, it removes all the risk. You basically get get completely pre-funded with free money.
Right. Or they refund. Kickstarter refunds everything. There's no charge ever.
If you don't hit your target.
Yeah, if you don't hit the target.
You don't hit the target, but there is no refund if the game never gets made.
No, if Tim Schafer takes the money and runs.
That was what blew my mind. I was talking to a friend of mine about Kickstarter a couple of months ago before I really understood what it was, and I'm like, yeah, it's great you can get, let's say I can raise $75,000, but like, how do I pay all those people back? Like, you don't. They don't expect the money back. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, you make
free money.
They expect goods or services.
Well, they expect whatever perks you've promised.
Right. Yes.
Which is at your liberty to decide what those are.
Right.
Yeah.
So you set up all the ground rules.
It's like a pledge drive for a commercial product.
It's a pre-order. It's literally a pre-order. It's a pre-order that doesn't suck.
It's not a pre-order because none of the money goes towards you getting the product.
Well, in this case, it does.
Again, it depends on the perks. At certain levels, you will get, say, a free copy of a book or a game or whatever it is you've helped fund.
Okay, so what I would say is the ones that are constructed properly, like this one and that one for that stupid aluminum iPhone dock, are pre-orders. Basically, it is a way to say, hey, I'm going to sell enough pre-orders of this product to fund the initial startup costs, so that instead of having to go out to venture capitalists or take a loan out or something like that, they can just say, hey, let the people who are interested in buying this product fund the development of the product. Ascension, maybe? It's
Is it Elevation?
Elevation. It just hit
the one that raised $1 million bucks also?
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous.
With the $75,000 goal?
Yes.
Okay. Will Smith, on record, stupid iPhone dock.
I think it's a stupid iPhone. I think, just to be clear, I don't think it's a stupid iPhone dock. I think all iPhone docks are stupid.
Okay.
I think it's a big deal. I mean, even Jimmy Fallon was tweeting about it today. They've more than doubled their goal. There's a tremendous amount of goodwill out there for Tim and his games, as there should be, because he's a phenomenal talent and a very nice guy, and he deserves all the success in the world. Beyond that, I think the people that are going to be happiest about this are the people at Kickstarter. Yeah, I think this is going to raise the profile of their model in a huge way, and I think you can expect a lot. I don't think it's necessarily going to be it's going to be a complete game changer, but there's already a lot of think pieces and people out there talking about, does this destroy traditional business models and blah blah blah. It doesn't destroy. I think it's a new one which is very compelling.
Yeah, I mean, in the old days there were a bunch of different ways you could do this. You could go get venture capital money if you knew the right people and had a really good idea and a business plan, but that means that you sell a substantial portion of your company or the potential profits away. You go take out a loan, but then if it doesn't work out, you have to repay the loan.
Well,
if you could grind up the hard way and pay for it out of pocket, and then if nobody wants to buy it, then you're fucked. This is a good thing. It takes a lot of the risk away from developing whatever the product is, whether it's a game or a movie or a iPod dock.
And this has caused me to think very hard about considering my own Kickstarter project, whereby we fund an amateur film in which you and Norm reenact the scene from Armageddon using those animal crackers that you guys have got out there. I think that if I were to put that up on Kickstarter.
Who gets the money?
With a modest budget.
If you put it up on Kickstarter.
What's the budget
we would
for?
Split it. We would split it equally.
No.
Well,
the budget isn't for production.
You
the
get
budget is for
10% at most.
It's not for profit.
Well, then, okay.
The majority of the money will go towards the production budget. If there's some left over, you will receive some recompense.
What's my incentive for Liv Tylering?
Internet celebrity.
Why am I Liv Tyler? Fame. Why don't I get to
dark hair?
You guys need to sort that out amongst yourselves.
Wait, no.
Who is Ben Affleck and who is Liv Tyler?
I'm Affleck. I have a beard.
No one wants to see.
No one wants to see any of this.
Affleck didn't have a beard in that movie.
He's noticeably hairy.
Do you guys know what scene we're talking about?
So there's a scene in Armageddon where before Ben Affleck goes off to space to save the world, he has a final romantic date with Liv Tyler,
oh my God.
whereby they're laying kind of like in a cornfield, and he has these animal crackers, and he's doing kind of a spoof of a wildlife documentary where he's kind of like teasing the animal cracker up Liv Tyler's exposed belly, and it's a bit erotic and romantic. And when I saw those animal crackers out there, for some reason, the first thing I thought of, and this might go to my diseased imagination.
Yeah, this says more about you than any of the rest of us.
Was you and Norm reenacting that scene. I feel confident that the chat and the forums will bear out that is something that the public wants to see.
No, it's not.
Well,
nobody wants to see that.
Let's let the audience be the judge.
Yeah, let the audience be the judge.
And I think we could raise 50 grand.
No way.
And we could shoot it on a shoestring, and then you and I, that would be a nice little bit of
I'm not participating unless
Then
there's
we all go
cash
put
in
down
my
payments on
pocket.
Teslas.
That's the thing.
Okay, let's say that we raise
terrible
$50,000, and I can shoot the whole thing
I
for
would
five.
Yeah.
I'll take $5.
How is it going
I'll
to
take
cost
$5
$5 to shoot the whole thing? Are we going
because
to license the music?
because it's going to be a high production value.
Do we
This is not going to be some shitty YouTube fan film. This is going to be like Michael Bay shit.
Do we license the song, the Aerosmith song?
I don't want a little.
I don't want to
miss a thing. I think we could probably do a little a cappella. Maybe get Ryan and those guys to do a little cover version of it.
Terrible.
Get John Drake. Maybe the harmonics guys could come up with
This
something.
is a terrible idea.
I would take $5. My all services deal for me would be $5,000. $5,000 for the production budget. $20,000 each.
Is it catered
for you and Norm?
I'm in for $20,000. Is it catered?
A lot of Lego.
See, suddenly he's in.
Well, of course. I'm not doing it for $50.
That is a lot. Your Lego
lot of
dreams
Lego.
are stuffed.
That's the entire year's run. That's everything they make this year.
Pretty much. You could even go get some fucking out of production shit.
I can get 10 Millennium Falcons.
You could. You could. You could buy 10 Ultimate Collector Millennium Falcons.
Probably what I would do.
And all you got to do is lay on your back for 5 minutes and let Will play with animal crackers on your naked belly.
Maybe I want to be Liv Tyler in this scene.
Oh, well, I see now you want to change it around.
Anyway, I think we should go on to what we've been testing.
Well, let's. I just want to say I encourage the tested audience to chime in with their thoughts on it.
You know, while we're talking about Kickstarter,
I don't endorse this.
we originally were thinking
Premium
of doing
content,
a
perhaps?
Kickstarter for the Lego project, and we decided, we didn't want it to go through the whole process.
Right.
But it was basically a Kickstarter.
You did kind of a mini Kickstarter.
Yeah, the viewers, they funded it. With
we didn't
with
offer
tip
to
jars.
refund anybody if we didn't end up.
Yeah, and look
doing
how
it, though.
successful that's gone on to be.
Yeah.
People love the Lego
People
thing.
do like the Lego thing. I'm going to play some music, and then let's talk about what we're testing. Earlier this week, I brought Chloe Bananas into the office to shoot 2 videos. One of which is on the site already. The other one is not up yet and will probably go up next week sometime. But the first thing we had her help test was the Sphero. If you watched our CS coverage, then you probably saw videos of that robotic ball, us driving that robotic ball around the show floor. And I think it is a really cool little robot. The level of fun, the way it works is, in case you haven't seen the video, is basically there's a plastic ball. Inside the plastic ball is a little tiny, like rolling robot that basically serves as a hamster inside one of those.
It's a remote controlled sphere.
It's a remote controlled ball. We played with it. Like we played with this show. It's a lot of fun to have like 2 of them and have races, but they're kind of expensive. It's like $130. Giving it to the dog.
Yeah, so what did she make of it?
She thinks it's the greatest toy in the world.
I think it's possessed.
Because it's unpredictable, right? So
Right.
like
It doesn't obey the rules of balls as she
Exactly.
knows them.
Yeah.
Right, right. So she has a very fixed idea in her head of how a ball should behave. You can get when you throw a ball, she knows how it bounces. She knows where it can go. She can anticipate. She's a good catcher. Like she's kind of a wide receiver of the dog world, right?
Right.
She'll take off if she can catch up to the ball. Then she'll catch it in her mouth in the air, which is funny because she's short. With the Sphero, it's a little bit different because she doesn't like the fact that it tries to put
All the usual rules go out the window.
Well, the robot tries to keep the robot tries to keep itself at the bottom of the ball, right?
Okay.
So when it's in her mouth and the robot's up on its side, then it's trying to spin, and she likes that, and she tries to kill it by shaking around, stuff like that.
So it's robust enough to sustain that kind of abuse.
Well, she's a small dog,
Right.
So she has a pretty big mouth for a small dog, but she can get the ball
big enough to pick it up.
She can pick it up and carry it around, stuff like that. Looks
she
really
won't
pleased with
swallow it.
herself. Yeah, she too big to swallow.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't want to give it to like a something with a lot of jaw pressure, like even a retriever.
Right.
Well, retrievers usually have kind of soft, light mouths. But I wouldn't want to give it to like a Rottweiler or something like
Right,
that that can
right.
really
They would
crush
chew it up,
concrete because
yeah.
it would not survive that.
Yeah.
It also is too slow to keep out in front of her. So like it's
She
not
can
like
catch- she can catch it pretty quickly.
immediately catch
Right.
it and nail it and hold it down and get it in her mouth.
Right. But can't you, as she's chasing it, can't you like suddenly send it that way and like send a skidding past it?
Not
and-
quite that
Not that
responsive.
responsive. or
Okay.
fast.
Maybe if we were on a hardwood floor or something where she was sliding around, possibly. But
Right.
then it's going to lose traction
on
too.
ice.
Right.
Yeah,
Sphero
ice would
on
probably
ice.
work.
And a corgi on ice.
Corgi versus Sphero on ice.
Who wouldn't want to see that?
I think more fun would be to have like 30 of them and the corgi, and then see what happens. Because she would completely lose her shit then. The upshot though is
That's probably what, when they talk about dogs going to heaven, that probably is what it's like.
just robotic balls.
Yeah, just
all
chasing
around.
robotic
Yeah.
balls around all day.
The other thing to note is that it's pretty easy to mimic this effect by taking like a big ball and putting a small ball inside it. So there's
Right.
so there's no center of gravity in the
Right,
ball.
right.
Obviously that will move on its own, but when you throw it, it gives it the kind of
unpredictable.
corkscrewy, weird
Yeah.
throw that she likes. We do that. We have a big red mesh ball that has another like yellow tennis ball inside it. She really likes that. But yeah, the other nice thing is when she pushes it under the sofa, then you can remote control
you
it
can
out
bring-
from
bring
under
it
the
back.
sofa.
Yeah, that's
so you don't have to
great.
go lay on the floor and shove
Right,
your arm
right,
in there,
right.
which is, I don't know if that's worth $130. I think it's probably more fun than the AR drone was.
Okay. Yeah, it looked like fun, but it seems like the novelty would wear off pretty quickly.
Novelty's going to wear
The
off.
novelty wore off before the battery drained.
Yeah, the thing that
Wow.
I-
When the battery lasts longer than your interest in it,
Yeah.
that is not great.
I wish that it went a lot faster. Like if it was a much faster thing, it'd be much more fun.
yeah. Maybe
wish
the
that-
next one, Sphero 2.
Yeah, the battery was a third the life and the speed was 3 times faster. I'd be
Yeah.
totally stoked about
Yeah.
that. We also tested this Japanese dog ball. I don't remember what it's called. But it basically, I don't know, Huey kind of wolfs his food when he eats, right?
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't savor.
No, if you give him a treat or a hunk of meat or whatever, he just swallows it right down. He doesn't chew his food at all. He's a big garbage can.
He worked on that carrot for a while that I gave him.
Yeah, because he's not really used to carrots as much. But if you give him like any kind of scrap of food, all he's thinking of in his dog brain is the faster I get this down, the quicker I can get the next piece.
Yeah, of course. So does he ever eat does he eat kibble? Like the little dry pellets of food?
I mean, like just like regular
Yeah, is that
dog
what
food.
his
you
normal
put-
dog
well,
food
he eats
is?
like pedigree, but yeah, he eats his
Okay.
version of that. Yeah.
So when he eats that, does he ever eat it so fast that like he doesn't chew and then it swells up in his stomach and he yaks it all
No,
up?
when he eats his regular food, he actually eats at a fairly regular pace. But when he gets a treat, he will sit. And it's something,
Okay.
if you give him one thing that he can eat all at once, he'll just just gulp it down.
So sometimes Chloe, when she gets like a new kind of food, gets so excited about eating that she just is just swallowing the food whole.
Right.
And then that usually involves yakking in the backseat of the
I have to
car
say, I
or
didn't
something.
realize just how crazy Chloe was. When Chloe came over with you the other weekend,
She's high energy.
and I was
dude.
trying to feed my dog,
Yeah.
and the wet food was kind of slopping out of the can, she went into some kind of
She's never seen wet food.
frantic, crazy. Like I could barely control her, and she's a little corgi. She was insane.
Right. Well, corgis are pretty food driven.
But she was like, it was like she was like a rabid. I'd
Yeah.
never seen anything like
Was the
it.
slobber everywhere?
Yeah, so we had to
Yeah.
lock her out of the kitchen until Huey had finished eating.
Well, it was also probably because I was mean and I forgot to bring food, so we fed her much later than
Okay.
normal that night. She likes food a lot. The point
Yeah.
is sometimes she eats way too fast,
Right.
and then the kibble goes down without being chewed, and then she barfs it up and then tries to eat it again, which
Ew.
is super gross.
Greedy guts.
Yeah. So what I did was got this dog ball that has like little compartments all over it. So there's like 4 compartments, and there's a place to put food on each side. And what you do
Okay.
is you basically spread the food around all these compartments, and then put these things that are like almost like baby toys that she can paw and nose to get to the.
Oh,
things
so
in
it
different
like
compartments.
dispenses the food at a slower rate.
Yeah, so it slows the eating process down
Right.
a little bit. We brought that in, had her test that out on camera, and she's gonna eat from it more this weekend. Then we'll.
So is it kind of like a ball that's like gumball dispensers are all around it?
No, I've seen them like that before too. We have one of those and had to stop using it because it made her fucking completely crazy. Like she treated that like she did the Sphero and was just chasing around the house as fast as she can. There was food flying everywhere, and that was a bad idea. But this one's flat and not designed to move around, so
Okay.
it works a little bit better. I'm still not super convinced about it though. I think it's easier just to yell at her when she's eating too fast and then she slows down.
Right.
So anyway, we tested that. We played a couple of really good iOS games lately. We did a live quick look on Monday of Ghost Trick.
Yeah, have you played
which
Ghost
for
Trick?
the DS
Haven't seen
originally
that.
came out for the DS. It's a Capcom game, so it's in the kind of in the Phoenix Wright Hotel Dawn or Hotel Room 517, whatever that game was. It's like a mystery
Yeah, I know
puzzle
the
game
kind of
you
game
kind
you
of
mean.
have to solve. It's quite good. Definitely worth checking out, and it was only a few bucks.
And Ticket to Ride's been free, isn't it, for the last couple of days?
Ticket to Ride
Okay,
Pocket
yeah.
Edition is free from like yesterday afternoon until probably around now. I can't believe it's already that late, but I guess we started late today.
Check your app store now and see if it's still free.
If you're watching live, if not, you might have to pay the 99 cents or $2 or whatever it normally is. They're adding a lot of stuff to that, so that's going to get expansions soon too. I think the iPad version is still preferred, but the Pocket one I play on the subway on the way home sometimes. So
I
it's nice.
played Puzzle Juice.
Oh, Puzzle Juice is really good.
I liked it. I get it that it's a mashup of these two popular genres.
Yeah.
It didn't really click with me.
It took me a little while because you have to train your brain to not to move in and out of the different modes fluidly.
I felt like I was playing two games at once, but I don't felt like they meshed into one cohesive thing. I felt like there was this kind of bifurcation in the way I was playing it that didn't really click with me.
I would say take a couple of days off and then come back to it and see how it goes. The other thing that we played is Beans Quest, which is I think the best platformer I've played on iOS.
Oh yeah,
it's really really good.
Yeah.
It's 99 cents. Everyone should go buy that
Beans
if you like
Quest.
platformers.
Okay,
it's a 2D platformer. It is fiendishly difficult if you want to collect all the stuff and do all the things that you can do, or quite fun and easy.
And it
if
has
you just wanna
touch
blast
controls
through.
and it works.
It's the thing that they did is there's no jump control.
You should tap left or right.
You only go left or right. You play a Mexican jumping bean.
Oh.
And so then the whole level is designed to work around the timing of the bouncing of your bean. And
I've played games like that before.
It's I've never played anything quite like this before. It's surprising. I really enjoyed it. So
Okay.
And then there's one that we haven't actually posted yet, but it's a fun game by people who made Cordy.
The sleeping kid game.
Yeah.
It's a tunnel shooter like Tempest.
Yeah.
Or
looks
like Wipeout
really good.
almost.
It's
All right.
Sleepy Jack.
Sleepy Jack. Or
Okay.
is it Sleepy Yak? No,
Yak.
we just said it was Sleepy Yak. Sleepy Jack.
Sleepy Jack.
Yeah, so that's good. The other thing, I guess that's it. I guess that's it for what we've been testing. We didn't test a whole lot this week. We've been Legoing a lot, it seems like.
Jeff Minter, who many diehard game fans will remember as a kind of legendary game designer.
Yeah, Tempest 2000.
Yeah.
And Space Giraffe.
And
more
Metagalactic
recently.
Llamas from the Edge of Time and all that kind of stuff. He
And,
makes a lot of psychedelic, really
Goat
trippy
Up
games,
and-
usually
yeah.
based around sheep and goats and things.
Minotaurs.
He has a new one out called Caverns of Minos.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
we
added
did
this
that.
Oh,
last
you did?
week.
You did it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good one too. Again, his games are
They're an acquired taste.
Yeah, well, I think you either get them or you don't. And if you like that retro style,
Well, Caverns of Minos is based on Caverns of Mars. So
Yes.
I think a lot of times what he does is just kind of rips off an old Atari 2600 game and modernizes it a little bit and then releases it as his own,
Pretty
which is
much.
fine. But yeah, I loved Caverns of Mars. It was a really good, very difficult, I think, Atari 20, or at least at the time I remember thinking it was very difficult.
yeah,
2600 game, is that right?
I don't recall.
You basically had to go down a long chute. But
But that's basically what Jeff does. Is he takes those classic games and he adds a bunch of sheep and llamas and goats to them and puts on this kind of
Yeah.
psychedelic
puns.
skin.
Yeah,
And then you're off to the races.
puns it up.
Yeah, Space Giraffe was his last game.
No. He's done a ton of iOS games.
He has done.
He's done Minotron, Goat Up. Goat Up is, I think, the best one. You should.
Oh, Goat Up, right? Yeah. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that was. I should have known. If
Yeah.
it's a game about goats,
It
probably
has
Jeff made it.
Minotaurs and goats
Yeah.
and clear
Lady
llamas.
goats.
He made a game on the Commodore 64 called Iridis Alpha, which is one of the few games he made that wasn't all about goats and sheep and yaks and whatever else. And that's actually my favorite game.
Is he a dude you've met? Is he a normal
I've
guy?
met Jeff, and no, he's not. I
Okay.
mean, what do you? Of course not. What do you think?
Well, I'm just curious. I wondered if he
he's
just has a weird sense
he's
of humor.
very much a super duper hippie. Like
Okay.
literally with like the Afghan fur coat and the
Giant
super hair
beard.
and the beads and the I don't know if he's changed much recently. I don't think his games certainly haven't. So I'm guessing that he isn't as well. A good friend of mine is good friends with him, and they've made games together.
He's
And
Woz, not Jobs.
the first few times that I've met. I've only met him a few times, but he is exactly how you imagine him to be. Like he really is like something out of a Coen Brothers movie or something. But he's great.
Cool. That'll do it for what we've been testing. Unless you have anything, Gary.
I'm trying to think if I've got anything beyond.
Did you build that train set, the Lego one?
No, we can talk about Lego now as part of what we've been testing. We'll talk about it separately if you like. As part of something
Let's
else.
put it in the outtakes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Not everyone likes Lego.
No, I know.
I don't understand those people
What?
at all. But
I understand. I mean, I like.
Of course
Lego,
you do. Of course
but
you do.
I understand the
You
sentiment.
tolerate Lego.
I think we did some stupid stuff in Lego today. Well, I guess it'll be next week before you see it. But yeah, let's take some questions. If you have a question, the email address is podcast@tested.com. Keep the questions short, under a minute. I had a lot that I had to just bounce because they were like 2 minutes long today. So that's
some people just
important.
don't listen.
Listen to them. Make sure they sound like the podcast does. Same volume. Not sounding like you're being drugged behind a herd of buffalo. And
No WMAs.
Yeah, no WMAs. Always. Never a WMA. Here's the first question.
Hey, Will, Norman, Gary. This is Justin from Port Hueneme, California. I had a quick question for you guys, but first, a would you rather. Would you rather have your consciousness placed inside an android body indistinguishable from your current one, or have perfect health for the rest of your natural life? Now for my question. With Gary's talk about his MiFi, I was wondering how long you think it will take for a major car manufacturer to sign a deal to have Wi-Fi hotspots built into their cars. Thanks a lot, guys, and always be testing.
Okay, Android
Backwards
body
first.
or perfect
No,
health?
let's do the answer first. 'Cause
Okay.
The answer is simple. It's already done.
Tesla.
Has it in the mirrors. Hotspots in the mirrors.
And I think more will come.
Yeah.
You will see it. You'll see like Android, deals and stuff like that. But you know what? It's not that great. It's much better to have just the deck of cards that you can keep in the car and then take
The
with you
MiFi
when you
is what
leave.
you're
Yeah,
saying.
just have a regular portable hotspot. I have it in my car. I love it.
Well, the only way it's better is if you don't pay for it, right?
If they can make it free off contract, then terrific.
Yeah.
So was it robot body or
Android body, indistinguishable from your current
do
body?
you have
Android
all
body.
your senses?
I think you're fully functional.
Wait, what was I didn't understand the what if.
So you would live forever in a robot body that's indistinguishable from your human body, or have a perfect human body, perfect health for the rest of your natural life.
I think you do the Android.
I think you do the
Is
Android.
But as the Android body,
Yeah.
do I still have all the sensation
That was
and
just- was
emotions?
my-
He said it was
fully-
indistinguishable.
It is-
Well, from the
so-
outside maybe, but am I?
Yeah,
Well,
do I feel like
indistinguishable-
a lifeless shell? Like I get no sense of smell, taste, and
Let's say for the sake of argument that you're data, but with the emotion chip. And let's use that
but
as the baseline.
even as a better.
Are you pasty and white? Or
Yeah.
just
No,
indistinguishable means he looks just
indistinguishable.
like
So,
Norm.
so you look
Small wonder.
But in terms of
what we're
functionality,
talking
But
about.
also, data is actually superior to humans in many
Super
ways.
strength.
Yeah.
I wish I had super strength.
and he has LED lights in his head.
I think that's not really in his
Morse
head.
Yeah, just think,
code.
if you had super strength, you might actually be able to do 4 curls.
Oh.
You've been saving that one up all week, haven't you?
Not really.
The best part of today's
left
episode.
the door open.
Ooh, I was fifth. I can't do 3 kills.
The number of people going 3 curls, really? Like, you guys needed to set the bar a bit higher there, I think.
I didn't realize how little weight 12
Didn't
pounds
realize.
was. We had 2 choices on weights. We had one 40-pound weight that we could have shared between us, but that seemed like a good way to hurt yourself. And then we had a bunch of 12 pounds. The other thing is we don't look ahead to see what the days are going to look like, so we didn't know. I didn't know that we were only going to turn 3 pages that episode.
I think how long do I live with the regular body?
Well, perfect health.
72.
So the oldest
73 years,
oldest person.
average.
No. If you have perfect health, no risk of.
Yeah, but am I perfectly healthy for like an 80-year-old man, which is to say still fairly slow and decrepit?
I guess.
There's
well,
no
even-
question here on this one. This is Android all the way. It's fully functional.
Yeah, what's the downside? I don't
Sex
understand what's the
stuff works.
downside.
You can still reproduce.
What's
Can
the
you
down?
still reproduce?
Says indistinguishable.
Well, indistinguishable
English
just
is what
means
means
you can't spot the
appearance.
difference. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you have
No.
all the faculties.
Indistinguishable. If it's sexy time, indistinguishable says everything.
Well, then I don't really understand what the
And the data
downside
set- no,
is.
there's no
Well,
downside.
indistinguishable from the outside, but not necessarily indistinguishable from within.
I think there needs to be additional clarity on this question.
Yeah, that question does not pass muster with me. You need to think these questions through.
For it to be a tough question, it would need to mean that you as the
Live
person
forever, but
within-
without certain
Right,
human things.
Exactly.
So like a Barbie and Ken doll in
No,
the general
no.
region is what you're saying.
No, like indistinguishable from the external, but you maybe like your senses, you're numb. You feel numb.
Whoa.
How about
all
this
the
one?
time.
Would you rather, for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
have no sexual pleasure or desire at all?
Or desire.
Or desire?
Well, see, if you don't have the desire, then you don't really care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, okay. So you have the desire, but
no.
you
You have
can't.
extra
But you
desire.
can't. But you can't ever satiate it.
Yeah, that's
Like you're
horrible.
impotent, basically.
So blue
Yeah.
balls for life.
Blue balls for
my
life,
God.
or you can have your sexy times, but all food just tastes like completely bland paste to you. There's no food satisfaction,
Oh my god.
food or liquid. You're just basically drinking plain water and basically the equivalent of like just gruel, just like completely bland, utterly flavorless gruel for the rest of your life.
This is a simple math problem. I eat 3 times a day.
Yeah. How many times do you spank it though?
Not 3 times.
Well.
Fewer than 3 times. Yeah, boy, that would have been a much better answer. I'm masturbating right now.
By math,
Yeah.
food is.
I've masturbated 4 times since we came in this room. No, I would take the food. I'd go with food.
You would.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd have to think about it a little bit.
Food is very.
Norm?
See, Norm, who's actually a young man,
Yeah, he
He's
has
probably more active in that area.
Yeah, food.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Norm
See,
eats.
that's how you do a would you rather.
good.
You've stumped Norm on this one.
I mean, the thing is, one of them is completely in your control. One of them requires, external help.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, I guess.
I can give up food.
You'd give up
I
food?
think you give up food.
Gary, what would you do?
I mean, I think you're going to be miserable either way because either one,
Oh.
whichever one you pick, you're going to the grass is always going to be greener, right? You're going to really miss
Yeah.
the thing that you gave
You're going to
up.
be eating a fantastic cheeseburger and just think, oh, man.
The thing is, you could basically kind of live an asexual life. Like you don't like it's not like you have to watch other people fucking all the time, and you can
Right.
just watch the Family Channel. Like, don't watch anything that might cause you to
No.
get excited.
Nothing.
But like, you can't ever like go out to dinner with friends.
that's
Or
right.
they're going,
And you know
oh, look
what,
at
Gary?
this beautiful juicy cheeseburger. And
if
you're
you
sitting
don't-
there, and you've got the beautiful juicy cheeseburger as well. But when you bite into it, it just tastes like nothing.
And with no
Ashes.
chance of sexy
You're
time,
basically
you don't have
like,
to care
um,
about your appearance.
You
You
like
just eat
those
as much food
pirates.
as
You like those
Yeah, this
pirates
is
in
Pirates of the Caribbean.
But they can't have any of it. They got fucked either way.
Oh, I thought they could still have sexy time.
No, they can't have any pleasures of the flesh.
Oh, man. Well, see, I would take the food.
You take the food.
I'd take the
So
food.
you would take the food and you would take the sex.
3 times a day. I really like food a lot.
I'm not thinking for myself. I'm thinking for the.
For the people?
See,
people
what I
out
like
there.
about the animal cracker scenario is it combines both of these things.
Oh, my God.
That's why it works so well.
Terrible.
food time.
Sexy
You're a bad
food.
person. I'm playing another question. Do we answer that question? We did.
I think for the Android thing, if I would choose to have a normal, a perfectly healthy human body with all my.
See,
um,
I
before
would
we
take
can-
the Android in the hopes that you get upgrades eventually.
The thing
'Cause,
is,
it's like
the
computers.
thing is, the reason
No.
why the reason why Norm says that is because the youngest man here, he doesn't yet really understand the concept of decrepitude.
No.
That's
No,
something that happens
yeah.
to other people.
It's a gradual
When you get to
decline.
our age and you start to realize that your back hurts and you can't do the things that you used to do, and
hair is
and
growing
you realize,
in places that it didn't
you
used to be
realize
hair.
The first time you haven't had this yet, but the first time you go to a doctor and the doctor says, "Yeah, that's just you getting old. I
No,
can't
I've
give you
had
anything
that.
for that." You're gonna go, "Fuck me! I should have
Yeah.
picked the other thing."
With the Android body. Give me the Android body.
I
doctor.
still want the ad. Can I? Is it too late? I want it back.
And, like you see, like the perfect replica being like thrown down the garbage chute.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like surrogates. It's Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play another question. I have the wrong window open for that.
Hey guys, this is Billy Hayes from McHenry, Maryland. I don't really have much hometown trivia other than I think Dave Snyder lived around in the area, something like that. Anyways, my question is, I'm just wondering if I'm considering getting a MacBook Air for, a light laptop. And I was wondering if, should I get one now or should I wait for when the line refreshes? I don't know if there will be any significant updates to a new line of MacBook Airs. Or should I wait for Windows 8 laptops to come out? Maybe there will be some nice Ultrabooks by then. And I also have one small quick question. I kind of busted the back glass on my iPhone 4S, and I'm just wondering what will be a good fix for that. Should I just call up Apple and ask how much it would be to replace the back? All right, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it.
I think in the case of the glass back, if
It's
you have an
real
Apple
easy.
store, you can actually they'll replace it for you. In many cases,
If they want to charge you to replace it, or if they want to give you one of your ticks on your warranty, like replacing the back glass is about 5 minutes of work. If you and $15.
where'd you get the part?
iFixit. iFixit sells the glass pane and a little pentalobe screwdriver to open it up.
Terrific.
Literally, we did a video for it when we got that transparent back glass for the iPhone 4 last year. It is it took less time to open the iPhone and swap out the back.
Well,
There's no wires to connect, nothing you can fuck up.
it just snaps on and off.
Unscrew 2 screws,
Oh.
lift the back off, put the new one on, you're done.
That's a great answer to that question. Go to iFixit, look up your guy's video, and just do it.
The only thing you want to do because if you have the special Apple Care that lets you smash your phone, did you break your back?
I never remember.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
If you have the special Apple Care that they'll replace a smashed phone for, don't blow that on a $15 piece of black glass.
Yeah.
You save that for when you drop it and
Yeah.
smash the front screen.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to the first question. I forgot what the first question was.
Oh no, it was Lion. Should I wait?
Should you buy a
You
MacBook
should- you
Air
should-
or wait for a Windows 8 laptop? Then light. It depends which OS you like.
Yeah, if you're used to OS 10 and you like OS 10, then buy a Mac. If you don't want OS 10,
Wait for
then buy a Windows
either way.
machine.
Don't buy right now. Wait for Ivy Bridge MacBook Air,
Yeah.
or wait for Windows 8. But then you have to wait till the end of the year.
Yeah, there you go. If you need a computer now, buy a computer now. But it's better to
The touchscreens on those, on Ultrabooks by the end of the year, will probably be cool. I mean, I don't know what the uses will be, but.
Yeah, I think there are some nice Ultrabooks out there right now. But unless I was in a real hurry, if I wanted an Ultrabook, I would again wait to let that category really kind of advance itself.
Finger
a little bit
slipped.
more. Yeah, nice work.
a trained professional.
All right, what else?
I've got one more, but it's about I don't know if I'm gonna run this one actually. Let's
move on.
Yeah, let's call it a day. And thank you guys for coming by. As always, it's been a great Thursday. Started a little later today. My timing's all jacked up. I feel like we should be going to have lunch after this. Norman, Gary, always glad to have you stay tuned.
I'm glad to touch and go for a while, but I was glad to get in.
We had an emergency sub in lined up. We didn't have to pull that.
I'm glad it worked out.
I can't wait for you guys to watch next week's Lego.
Next week's Lego is ridiculous.
Well, let's get into that after this.
Yeah. Hi there. I didn't see you.
Tested.
If you like geegaws and gizmos, come on over to tested.com.
Who was that?
That was Ryan Davis.
Oh,
I think he was doing his Mad Dog McCree voice.
right.
Thanks, Ryan, for driving traffic to our site during CES. That was wonderful.
Pulling
of you.
people away during TNT.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Good stuff. So Lego.
Lego. My Rebel Blockade Runner came yesterday.
Oh, you did order it.
I ordered it. Yeah.
Now, how many pieces is that?
Like 1,400, I think.
Oh, so a good size.
It's nice. For me, 500 pieces, I think, is where I want to start. I don't want to go below that.
Yeah, I mean the Y-wing was a nice.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours. It was really
Yeah,
good.
and I loved. So here's the thing. Now people have been asking me because we have created a lot of interest in Lego lately.
Yeah.
People have been saying to me like, "You guys, okay, I'm going for it. What shall I go get? I haven't built Lego in a long time." And I had been recommending the White House, which is about 500 pieces and is a nice, iconic, simple build. That was my gateway drug. Now I would recommend to people the X-Wing.
X-Wing is pretty cool, right?
It's about as many pieces, but it's so much more fun because it has the engineering component, the moving parts, building the gears, and realizing how the X-Wings, open and close is really clever.
The S-foils?
The S-foils.
Yep.
It's great to see how it's a beautiful looking finished model. It's challenging but not too challenging. And you can get it for about $50-$60. It's a good way in.
Yeah, there's a couple more things that I want to get, and then I'm probably out for a while. But I want to get an X-Wing to go with my TIE Fighter and Y-Wing. And
So what's the project that you and Gina are going to do together? The Blockade Runner?
Probably the Blockade Runner.
Okay.
And she has the Guggenheim still that she hasn't done.
Yeah,
yet,
that's a nice little solo.
Yeah. And
project.
at some point, if we're holed up for a while, the weather gets bad, we might do a Roby House.
Well,
or something
here's
like that.
here's the piece of advice that I wanted to give to you because you said that your issue was A, space, and B, expense.
Yeah.
If you take these things apart when you're done and sell them down the road, you
Oh,
can
I know.
actually make money off this hobby. These once these things go out of production,
We are not investment brokers.
these things
These
appreciate
statements are
like a
forward-looking.
motherfucker.
Generally, they do. Yes.
They really do.
We are not investment
we are
brokers.
not with this
These
is-
things go
Yeah.
like a
Please,
motherfucker.
Please don't. Yeah. I just.
Who needs Schwab and all this bullshit? Just buy Lego.
Here's the thing.
It's like gold.
The
You hear
universal.
these ads on gold is what
No,
you need.
no,
it's the only
this is-
safe
this is
harbor.
not
No,
investment
it's not. It's
advice.
Lego.
Don't cash out your 401k and put it in Lego. That would
Yes.
be bad.
Lego bullion.
I did start looking at Bricklink at people who are recreating the Ultimate Falcon, Millennium Falcon kit, which
It's
is
amazing that
5,000
people can
pieces,
do that.
and you can basically buy most of the pieces off the shelf for $500 to $800.
Right, and then you can go get the manual and just build it.
Yeah, and that is very tempting to me in an obsessive compulsive kind of way. I am not going to do that though. That seems like a road that is better for me to not walk down.
I said after our recent trip to the Lego store where we went a bit crazy.
What you
We all bought a little thing. I went crazy.
Yeah.
I bought like 7 or 8 different things, including the Superstar Destroyer and a couple of other things. I said to myself that I wouldn't buy anything else, but I have bought a couple of other pieces since then. Small pieces. Small pieces.
Oh.
I wanted to get the TIE Fighter to go with
Yeah,
the
of
X-Wing.
course.
It's only $40.
Yeah, and you have the Y-Wing.
I haven't built the Y-wing yet, but I do like the Y. I have the XY and the TIE. What I'm most excited about is the rumors of an Ultimate Collector's B-wing, which is my favorite. Apart from the Falcon, is my favorite ship, and I think the most underrated ship in the Star Wars universe.
Well, I didn't like the B-wing until I played that X-wing, the X-wing, the original X-wing, the expansion for B-wing.
B-wing was great,
and they filled in it's expanded universe bullshit, but they filled in the backstory on the B-wing.
Yeah,
and it's fantastic. It's like the whole thing is it's to take out capital ships.
It's a heavy bomber.
Yeah,
it's armored like a fucking tank.
Yeah, didn't turn like a tank too.
That thing is serious business.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like the B-wing a lot. It was my favorite toy as a kid because I had the B-wing and the arms came out and the cockpit was on a gimbal, so it swiveled.
So my recommendation to people right now, as it stands, who are looking to get into Lego, the X-wing is great. The White House is great. The problem with the Star Wars and the architecture Lego brands is you will pay extra. They charge extra for those, either because of the Star Wars licensing fees or architecture is meant to be kind of a more upmarket brand. The other thing that is terrific are the creator series is great. Like
the 3-in-1s. Flo did one of those. This
so
weekend, right?
So our friend Florence bought one of those, and it's terrific because you can. Basically, the gimmick is the pieces come with schematics that let you build them into 3 different things. So if you build like the car, you can also build it into a different kind of car or a truck. The lighthouse can also be built as like a little seafood restaurant, or I think like a fishing harbor or something. I can't remember this. But you can build them and then rebuild them 3 different ways and get a lot of fun out of them. So I like that. Any of those would be a great start. Around 500 pieces. Don't do too late.
Spend $30 or $40, $50 at the outside.
Or if you want something really simple, for like $20, the Luke's land speeder, which
too
is
simple,
160 pieces, but it's a nice, just very simple, just to get your feet wet.
Too simple.
So how is your guys' competition going?
Well, we're a week ahead, so I don't want to talk about it too much.
We're talking about last week.
But yeah, where we ended last week. Well, tomorrow's episode's real good. Tomorrow's episode, we talk about things we've done.
Today's episode is very dramatic because you actually, literally shots were fired.
Yeah, I didn't realize that thing was going to go anywhere near that far. And then once I did,
my pacing because I couldn't get to the very end of that
clearly.
step.
You actually with a projectile that you fired from your desk onto Norm's, actually knocked pieces onto the floor.
Went much better than I possibly could have expected, Gary.
Can I just say,
that
even though you seem in terms of pieces very close.
Yeah.
Like only a couple of percentage points apart, like the margin of you're well inside the margin of error in terms of who could win this thing.
Yes.
You, however, are not winning the war for public opinion.
I'm comfortable with that.
You know how like wrestlers have heels and faces?
Yes.
You are very much a heel right now.
I'm playing the role of heel. But the thing is, like in wrestling and in life, sometimes the heels become the faces.
Do you think that's going to happen in your case?
Things can happen that are going to turn the whole thing around.
There would need to be a dramatic shift in the narrative. Has so far been established.
You know, you never know what might happen next, Gary. That's the thing about the Amazing Test is the heroes rise, oceans fall, asteroids explode and fly
without giving anything away. Given that you are about a week ahead in the build, it was very interesting for me today to walk into your little space
did you go see?
And see where you've proceeded, where you are now. It's very interesting.
I'm comfortable being the villain. That's where I'm going to leave.
Well, I should hope so because you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, the thing is, so here's one of the things that happened last week when we were shooting this. I don't ever look at Norm's table when we're building. Like, it is literally heads down, building as fast as I can the entire time and maintaining a conversation. But you never look. I mean, do you look over at my table?
No, I'm building at a leisurely pace because I want to maintain good conversation for the entertainment.
That is not true at all.
No, it's a trick, though, isn't it? Because that's the balance. Because you can't just sit there and build in silence. You want to maintain a conversation to make it interesting content. You've got to find a balance between being able to divert enough attention to the conversation, but not have it distract too much from actual building, which is the main objective.
My point is, when I was giving Norm such a rasher of shit last week, I didn't look over to see how many pieces behind he was.
Well, you wouldn't be able to tell anyway.
Yeah, it became very clear at a point.
The only statistic that makes means anything at all is your percentages. That's all that means. Weight doesn't mean anything because one build they don't weigh the same when they're finished. It's the percentage of your overall build.
Yes, by weight.
By weight.
Yeah.
That mean that tells you how finished you are.
Things are going
to your finish line.
Things get real dramatic early next week. That's all I'm going to say.
It's already started to get a little bit dramatic.
There's real tension.
I think you need to step up the challenges.
We're doing 2 challenges next week. Unfortunately, because we shoot a week ahead, we didn't get the feedback that people liked challenges far enough in advance to shoot more challenges this week. But we're doing 2 challenges for next week, and then maybe something more for the week following.
And again, I won't give anything away, but I'm very, very excited about the one that you just did recently.
Yeah, just we shouldn't talk about it anymore.
We're not going to talk about it, but I think the people that have been, and again, I'm still amazed that this whole series. The first thing I do every morning now is load up Bricked, and I sit there with my coffee in the morning, and I watch my 30 minutes of.
The first thing I do when I wake up is check the
sitcom.
thread to look at the animated GIFs because they're wonderful.
Well, I don't like to look at the GIFs or read the thread because I don't want it to. I don't want any spoilers. I like to
yeah.
watch the episode first, and then read the.
It's like
the
reality
fan
show.
reaction.
It's like reality television.
It really is.
It's like the
I'm gonna
shittiest reality show on TV.
I'm going to be sad when I'm
Bravo.
going to be genuinely sad when it's over. I don't
know what we're gonna do next.
I don't know. More Lego.
More people are watching each day than the
No.
day before. It's crazy.
You can't do more Lego.
Oh, so the audience numbers
we can
are
track. The audience
growing?
numbers are ridiculous. We're blown away. So yeah, it's really
Excellent.
good. That'll do. Do we want to talk about anything else? What's going on? I started watching. I don't watch TV really anymore. We watched The New Girl the other night. That show's not good.
I tell you what, NBC's done a terrible job marketing 30 Rock. I didn't even know it was back until I looked at my on-demand menu. It was like 5 episodes up. I'm like, oh shit, I guess 30 Rock is back. So we started watching that.
Wow, 5 episodes, really?
I think it's 4 or 5 already.
Oh, man,
God.
I'm really
And
far
still
behind.
still enjoying Up All Night. Love that show.
That's funny, yeah.
What else are we watching? A lot of garbage. Couldn't deal with The Bachelor this year. It's just too shitty.
Thank God somebody finally stopping watching. The
Idol
Bachelor.
we're enjoying Idol as we do
Idol's-
every year.
yeah. Is Hollywood better than the trial stuff?
Well, Hollywood's just is starting.
not started yet?
It's now
Okay.
starting. So
I haven't watched any of those yet. We watched Star Wars last night.
which one?
First one,
Yeah.
Star Wars. It holds up. That movie's real good.
Yeah, Empire's still it for me.
The thing amazes me about that first movie. Well, the Gene and I were talking about this last night. My favorite movie is the first one, but I think Empire is a better movie.
Okay.
That first movie is so dialogue thin in the entire first half of the movie. Like until they get to until Luke meets Ben Kenobi, there's basically no talking. I mean, there's a little bit on the blockade run on the Corvette between Darth Vader and
And then a
Leia
big
and all
chunk of
that.
it is just R2 and 3PO's Odyssey.
Yeah. I mean, it's and I hadn't watched that since I'd seen Hidden Fortress probably, and I really didn't appreciate how much of that was just straight lifted from Hidden Fortress. But it's really good. And then the thing that I appreciated last night was how dramatic the kind of space stuff is at the end of the Death Star bits. Because you haven't really seen a whole lot of amazing special effects. I mean, there's laser blast and there's the laser swords, which are cool, but not like mind-boggling. And then they escape from the Death Star, and you're like, holy shit! You know, they're shooting each other, and then it ups the ante one more time with the Battle of Yavin. It's real good.
It's a great movie.
This is the great thing about the
There's
Lego
a reason
thing.
why it is as big as it is.
Invigorating love for Star Wars again.
Yeah, so as we were talking about this, Gina was watching, and she hadn't watched in a long time, and we were talking about like Kenny Baker being stuck in R2-D2 most of that movie because it was almost all Kenny Baker, hardly any robotics.
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking at C-3PO, and she says, "Is there a guy in there too?" And I said,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
really,
Anthony
really,
Daniels,
really thin guy.
Yeah, she's like, he's really skinny, and it must have been unbelievably hot in Tunisia.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, probably. I'm sure, if you ask him about it, he'd say yes. And then we were talking about Return of the Jedi, because we were talking about whether C-3PO was the Jar Jar of the first trilogy, and I said no, that's clearly Chewbacca. Like Jar Jar is clearly supposed to be the Chewbacca of the prequels.
Yeah, how'd that turn out?
Not well. And then I told her the Wookiee story, how Return of the Jedi was originally written as
The Wookiee planet.
the
right.
Kashyyyk, the
Right.
Wookiee planet, and she was like, "Oh my God, are you kidding?" And I was thinking about what an unbelievable third act that would have been, because that movie was 3 third acts, right? How unbelievable it would be if it was a bunch of Wookiees ripping arms off of stormtroopers and beating them to death.
It would have been a different movie. I don't know if it would have been a better one. Again, I know a lot of people hate the Ewoks. I personally did not have a problem with them.
Well, your argument about Jedi has turned me around on Jedi entirely. I think that the first act of that movie, what essentially is the cold open at Jabba's palace, is unbelievable. Really,
Everything.
good.
We were just watching it again the other day, and the whole, like when we were watching that whole sequence with the Sarlacc pit,
Yeah.
I got chills watching
yeah.
it. And this is 20 years, 25, nearly 30 years after I first seen that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still looking at it going, this is fucking great.
And then you get to the death of Yoda, and that's unbelievable. And revelations, and huge revelations in that.
Yeah.
They go to Endor.
Yeah.
That the bits with the speeder bikes are amazing.
Fantastic.
Of course the Jedi duel at the end of Return of the Jedi is the best one in the movies. I don't care what you say.
I
mean,
no,
okay.
the one at Empire's, the end of Empire is the best one.
Oh,
I personally think.
I think the impact of the one in Return is fucked up because it's split up into chunks.
Well, I mean, that's the genius of the structure of that movie is 3 different epic sequences that are all playing out simultaneously and intercutting back and forth, and they all interrelate, like they're all part of the same story.
And it's what in the other
really
movies ruin the movies. I mean, are part of
in the prequels.
The cutting is terrible.
Yeah. But I was just thinking. I was thinking what a switching out Wookiees for Ewoks to sell more toys is makes me real sad.
And that may well have been the reason. Again, I still feel that had it been Wookiees, who we know are super strong and pull people's arms out of their sockets, they don't really have the same. The whole for me, the whole point of the Ewoks is that the rebels have been the scrappy underdogs against the full industrial might of the Empire all along.
Right.
And when you so the idea of the Ewoks that are literally fighting with like rocks and clubs is taking that concept to the nth degree. Like they are the ultimate underdogs.
I mean, if you look
had it been Wookiees, the Wookiees are so strong and powerful. You're like, well, yeah, of course they're going to fuck up the stormtroopers.
Did they give rifles and stuff to the Wookiees in the prequels?
Yeah,
I think so.
Or were they fighting with sticks? Were they noble savages? I know.
I try not to think about it.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
You make Gary very upset.
Gary's making a frowny face.
Why would you take me back to that place?
I don't know. I just thought like that the Wookiee Ewok battle could have been so amazing compared to the teddy bears beating the stormtroopers. I think it just diminishes the stormtroopers as villains. I mean, it makes them bump.
They could have done it too. They could have done it both ways, where you realize like the Ewoks and the Wookiees, like the Ewoks are basically kind of like junior. Ewoks are junior Wookiees, and you go, oh, how are these little things going to fight the Empire? And you realize that the Wookiees are like the mama versions, like the grown versions that also exist there.
Oh,
now joining
those
the fight.
are the chrysalis, and then they explode out into Wookiees. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Oh shit, they're Wookiees.
Yeah. Bad news.
Now the Empire's got a problem.
Literally, they struck them down, and then out of the corpse of the Ewok, a Wookiee bounds.
Yeah, like you feed them after midnight, and they turn into Wookiees.
Oh my god, a giant ball of Wookiees running down and crushing AT-STs.
I like the Ewoks. I think they're cute, and kids loved them. I never had a problem with them. I think in our jaded old age, they've become an easy target for why people don't like Jedi. But I think Jedi holds up fucking great.
I agree.
Still. And even though Lucas himself went back and tried to top it, still the best space battle ever put on film. And it's 30 years old. Find me a better one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the A-wing crashing, all the different, just the variety of ships, the sudden reveal of the executor fleet.
I've told this story before, but when they after the shield goes down, I'm watching the whole battle around the Death Star. And I go, how could this possibly get any better? And the shield goes down, and now they're skimming the surface of the Death Star. And I go, this is fucking great. Yeah. How could this possibly get any better? And as if Lucas is reading my mind. And they fly inside the Death Star.
No, absolutely.
I was 11 years old. That is the closest I've ever come to actually shitting my pants. When the Millennium Falcon does that kind of barrel roll into the superstructure, I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
It's a loop.
I don't think I'd ever actually heard the word fuck. I think I just organically generated it because the only word.
That was your first cursing.
I think you've got to be fucking kidding me. Because the only word that could possibly express my feelings about how awesome that was.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Anyway.
I mean, Lando Calrissian leading the... it's just... There's nothing you can't talk
Wearing
about.
Han's outfit.
Yeah, with a cape. He added a cape.
No, he only had Han's outfit at the end of Empire.
No, at the end of Jedi, he has it.
No, end of Empire. End of Empire.
Oh, he has it. Yeah, he briefly.
he
has it at the end of Empire, but then he's got it in the Battle of Endor as well.
He's wearing a cape. He's wearing the blue shirt with a cape. It's like a hybrid in betweener. I don't know. It's good stuff. The thing of the good stuff out of all this Lego thing is that I have refound my love of Star Wars.
Thank you. Right. Glad to hear it. I don't think they could, by the way, I don't think, just go back to Lego, I don't think they could do it because of all the contoured edges, but what I'd love is like a Ultimate Collector's Mon Calamari flagship. Like the big cruiser.
If they can make an A-Wing, they can make a Mon Cal flagship. I don't think they could do the escort frigate with that long...
The medical frigate?
Yeah, I don't think they could do that.
No, they could do that.
I guess
that would be easier to do. Just engineeringly, they would have to find a way to hold it together.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, because the thing about the Mon Calamari ships is there's no angles. It's all like bulbous. It's like a cloud.
So then it's just a bunch of little 2x1 plates.
Yeah.
3x1 plates.
There would be a lot of special pieces.
It would have to be huge. It would be another 4,000 piece kit.
Hell yeah.
Gina asked last night as I was getting the Corellian Corvette out, hey, did they not make AT-ATs?
They have made them.
I know, and I explained to her the limited nature of Lego and the scam into
They have
which we've
been
all bought.
5 different AT-ATs.
Right. I missed my AT. I
AT&T.
hope
we
there's
have a
another
couple of
AT-AT
we have
in
a
the
couple of
future.
ATSTs at home, but not an.
You know, one of those is a
Those aren't the
UCS.
same.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we have the regular one.
And then you
So
have
we have a
the-
little we have a little indoor bunker diorama, and then we have the full size ATST. But
There you
maybe they'll bring back the AT.
I told Gary that
Jabba's Palace also coming before the end
you know
of the year.
no Sarlacc or no not Sarlacc but no Rancor pit in that.
I'd like to see Jabba's sail barge as well. That'd be a good one.
Yeah. I'm gonna use this newfound Lego enthusiasm to also jumpstart Lego photography. Because I
Yeah,
bought
you
the
mentioned it's a
camera.
great.
Oh yeah.
great.
I bought the camera and I and I want to practice photography.
Well, there's that dude on Flickr.
Well, every
a bunch of
other
people on
dude on
Flickr,
Flickr
yes.
does it, but it's a great way to practice taking photos
Yeah,
of like stills
Yeah.
of static objects.
we should dig up those Hoth scenes that one guy did that were really amazing.
He actually did a big blog post about how he took those photos, and those are so nice. Oh.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, well, we'll be back next week with more podcasts. See you guys next Thursday. Thank you for
Thank you for sticking
listening.
around,
Yeah.
and for those of you watching on the live stream, TNT's going on right now. Let's
Yeah.
just swap over, watch Batman or Brad play Batman.
No,
Gotham
Gotham
City
Imposters.
Imposters.
Doesn't have Batman.
I'm gonna
in
try.
it.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm gonna go check that
It's
out.
like Team Fortress, but with Batman. It's those guys in Dark Knight that Batman jumps in on.
the imposters.
Yeah, the imposters. It's
the
that
wannabes, copycats.
with Joker imposters.
All right, I'm
too.
gonna check it out.
Yeah. See you guys later.